Drivers, start your engines!
Be plenty of carnage, so full head on them, wound up. Yeehaw, boys. Holy.
It's a junkyard.
There's too much time hitting people. Chill a second. No gas, gotta hang off here. Don't overdrive. Just let me do my job.
10 times. I don't care if I wreck the whole field. I'm over him. He's just a moron. That was an absolute bull. Not clear. Awesome. I tell you, Mama ain't raised no.
What the fuck are you doing out here? People are saying, just racing like idiots.
I don't care. Just let me drive.
What is he doing?
This is embarrassing. What a clown show.
Did you ever think you would see that?
Oh, no. Did that just happen? Holy cow! Let's go!
Good evening. Wait, hold on. I forgot to put my "We're Live" tweet out. We're live. Just tweeted it out in real time in case the folks on old X had forgotten that it's Wednesday night. That means it's NWP night in America. My name is Eric Estep. We're on my channel this week. I'm joined as per usual by Daniel Baldwin, aka Danny B Talk. See, you picked up some fresh merchandise this weekend in Joliet, Illinois. Absolutely. And our resident Illinois native, Jarrett Lundberg, back in his old stomping grounds this past weekend. You got to be feeling pretty good, Jarrett. How you doing?
I'm retweeting in live time.
Good. Thank you. Get the word out.
On my secondary screen.
Hey, as the chief propagandist of Chicagoland Speedway on YouTube, I am doing great this week.
I'm sure you are. You've had a good one, sellout crowd. I saw the TV ratings came in. We're pretty solid for Chicagoland as well. Seems to be some good momentum behind this, not just being a one and done like many of us feared. You are exactly right, Ethan. It is Wednesday night, my dudes. Chat, great to see all of you here. Appreciate you spending at least part of your week, part of your Wednesday night with the three of us goofballs right here. We got to see each other in person this past weekend. I know you two see each other somewhat regularly. You live in the same town. I don't get to see you guys that much. It was good to see both of you in the flesh this past weekend. So hope you guys are doing well. Let's just start there real quick before we get into the race, because there was a lot of drama. There's a lot of drama on and off the track to get to. I just want to ask, I'll start with you, Jarrett. How was your weekend camping out with your family in the infield like old times? It's been 7 years since the last Chicagoland race. How did you enjoy your weekend down in Joliet?
I mean, outside of the 4 inches of rain in less than 48 hours, pretty great. But I even told you guys when we were hanging out on, I think Saturday it was, I was like, this is every Chicagoland has 1 or 2 days of the weekend that just have a ton of rain that get in the middle of it. This is normal. We find Sunday.
Nobody panic.
No, that's why you're seeing me. I'm just like, I'm just happy to be here. It was great. I mean, it's been so long. So much has changed. I mean, think of just in general, the things that have happened since then. I mean, by God, guys, we went through a damn pandemic between the last time that Chicagoland was on the schedule. We were either in or approaching our 30s now. So I guess, I don't know, they spam Unk in the chat.
I wasn't even married the last time that we raced there.
None of us were. All 3 of us are now. I mean, a lot's changed, but it was great being there. And yeah, I was even attacked.
Yeah, you were attacked by a mascot, one of the smellier mascots.
I got it.
Just be glad you didn't get run over by the shark cart. I saw that was out in full force.
Well, I have the clip for anyone who is missing it here. Oh, he's coming right to me. Oh, Jesus. What's up?
I left out the best part where you pointed out the fact that it has a crack.
I made sure to at least have the video of it, but it was more me just huffing and puffing like, oh my God, it just got hit by a linebacker dude wipe.
Wiped out nearly. I don't know, something about the way you just started shuffling towards you.
I know.
Like it's on a Broadway production.
By the way, Jarrett, we brought something back with us down here. Have you looked out your window?
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, of course that's gonna go. I'm blaming my uncle, who you guys met, and my cousin who are coming down for her softball tournament in town. I'm blaming them for bringing the rain with, because that's all that Illinois has had all year, as many people saw. But that wasn't like the only story. Like there was. Okay, so Eric hasn't heard this. Danny has. So we went to the tweet up, as you do, on Sunday, and my dad, he's like recovering from hip replacement surgery. So like, God bless his soul. He's standing out there listening to me yap, as I always do, and he's like, "Hey, we need to probably start heading back to the infield." Just he's literally walking through the entire midway with his cane, and he's a trooper.
His cane put Brad Keselowski's to shame, though. I gotta say,
it has Thor on it.
It looked pretty sick. Yeah.
Good
looking cane.
And you should have seen the Sunday outfit. He was even more pimp with thing going on.
Oh, I'm glad I leaned into it.
He had the 45 Bulls jersey like Michael Jordan used to, but it had Reddick's name on the back instead.
Oh, that's sick.
That. And that was a hit. So we get on one of those school bus trams to go inside the racetrack. And we get in with this woman who cannot speak any English, does not know where to drive. And I swear it was like I was talking to Consuela from Family Guy. Like
she was driving the bus?
She was driving the bus. And I'm like, okay, like we just need to go this way. And she goes, no.
Where she's driving the bus, we don't know.
Well, she's like, no, we go this way. And I'm like, okay. Wow. And so like she takes a wrong turn and heads across the street to the drag strip, where there's like a mile long of traffic, and we're stuck in traffic at the drag strip. And like she's lost. A dude ends up being like, let me off, I'll just walk back to the track. And then there's like maybe a dozen of us sitting in there, and someone in the back goes, hey, whoever knows the area, like go up there and help her out. And I'm like, shit. All right, I'll go up there. And so I'm trying to direct her back. She goes like full speed around the back of the drag strip, nearly runs us into a pond, goes back around, has to have the police tell her where to go. And she's about to then pull a Yui and do the same thing. And I'm like, no, go there, right. And she starts
one way in, one way out. It's one tunnel.
Yeah. Well, and so we're like, okay, yeah, just pull over here. This is where you're supposed to go. There's an entire line of school buses at turn 1, right next to the tunnel. And she just motors on by right to the backstretch, stops in the middle of traffic, lets somebody else off. And then we're like, okay, well, let's just go to the infield. There's a big ass tunnel. Just follow these trucks and you'll be right there. She nearly runs, when she gets to the infield, into the other lane of traffic with cars coming in and out.
Man.
We finally managed to get to the area where we're supposed to get let off, and we're getting let off, and there's a line of people waiting. I go, you guys going on this bus? The dude in the front of the line's like, yeah. I go, good luck. Somebody has to be up there to give directions the whole time.
Well,
it was if I hadn't been attacked by dude wipes, it would have been the most wild story of the weekend for me.
Well, at least you made it to your final destination. I will say, having been there Saturday, if there is one shortcoming this weekend, because I thought the weekend was pretty great. Racing was good, as expected. Crowd, especially on Sunday, was excellent. Saturday, we braved that summer storm. It was all great. Vibes are great. But there was one thing that was off. It was some of the logistics. NASCAR tracks have such a hard time. You'd think they've been doing this for so long, and they used to have much bigger crowds, yet it feels like whether it's a new track like San Diego or an old track like Chicagoland, there's always confusion. There's always hysteria. So I thought if there's anything, it was the parking lots that were flooded. It was, I guess, apparently this crazy bus driver. But
so I found out that they were about half staffed to where they needed to be. And it was like 3 or 4 staffs from other ISC tracks had to either drive or fly in to help the weekend of. So like, I firmly think that hopefully when this comes back next year, I do think it'll be better. But yeah, that was probably the biggest gripe I had. That, and there was no internet from like 3 hours before the race until 5 laps to go.
I think we're gonna have to find a way to raise some money, not for necessarily paved lots, but just some more gravel lots in the area might be needed after this one. Did you guys see the photos of and videos of all the people who was getting stuck in the mud? There's one in particular, and I want to give this guy a shout out, Matt Schoenbrod. I followed him on Twitter when I seen a photo of him just caked in mud, wearing a nice new Connor Zilish O'Reilly series, the KOA car he ran on Saturday. He had a nice shirt, entirely covered in mud, all of his clothes, because he was helping people get out of the mud. Eric, I meant to ask you because I don't know what kind of vehicle you had. Did you guys have any problems getting out of there?
No, we were fortunate enough. Most people in our section were getting out seemingly no issue. I mean, it was slippery. Like you'd see guys like sliding a little out of control. You gave them extra space, but we were able to get out. Fortunately, our corner of the parking area was okay.
Because even where I was parked at, I was in the infield parking both days, and so most of the infield parking, there's like a big like gravel strip, but then they do have a little bit of overflow that's grass. So I did park in some grass. And I literally, as I was driving into, I can feel how soft this is. Like I didn't have the vehicle in 4-wheel drive at that point. We fortunately we paid a little bit extra. We rented a Ford Bronco for the weekend, which was the right call, because especially after leaving on Saturday with even more rain, it was even more saturated, more mud. There was one car literally in the section that I was in, like stuck, and people were trying to get it out. Not much I can do at that point. But I did put it in 4-wheel drive, and I felt bad because I'm just driving out, la 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 la, and they're sitting there getting that car out. I'm just like, I have 4-wheel drive. I'm out of here. I feel bad.
Well, and real quick, because I do know we have to talk about the racing. I do want to give a shout out. We had the best neighbor next to us because we got to be in the old owner's slot, so it was paved where we were. So we watched all the rest, and we are just like, oh, those poor saps back there. But Dave from A6 is the best neighbor you could have had at a track. That whole group next to us. So like we show up, and we got a rental. They got it from the same place. We're backing in the camper. I heard that.
Yeah, the lightning round is starting early. Jarrett, lead us off here. What's on the lightning round?
Well, again, a bit of a shout out, but yeah, we'll do that as the first lightning round of the night. But like as soon as we get out, he's like, "You guys look like you need some beers," and everyone just starts handing us beers. And Van Halen is playing, and the entire weekend we're just helping each other out. Awesome atmosphere. I gotta say, if anyone wants to go next year and you want to camp, be sure to. There's that awesome Rowdy Nation bus that I got to go and see, and they're just, it was great vibes overall. But I could go on all night on all the great stuff that happened. Let's go on about maybe the racing at this point.
Sounds good. Shout out to Dave, and shout out again to everyone being here tonight live. NWP. It's great to be home back in the studio, but it was fun to be at the racetrack. Not as much fun probably as Chase Briscoe had Sunday night. Chase Briscoe gets his first win of the season. He is the latest and greatest Toyota to get to victory lane this year, but he had to hold off his teammate Christopher Bell, two hungry JGR drivers who are used to winning multiple races a season, used to being in that championship fight. They've gotten off to uncharacteristically slow starts, both hungry for that first win. It goes Briscoe's way. That final battle, though, was the end of like nearly 100 lap long green flag run. We saw a green flag pit cycle. Denny Hamlin may have been a part of this battle if he didn't scrape the wall with a few laps to go. Jared, I'll start with you on this. Just thoughts on Briscoe besting Bell there to get his first win of the season.
I mean, I thought Bell was about like 4 or 5 to go when he got right there. I'm like, oh my God, he's gonna win and put on a great performance after everything else that's happened already. I just think in a lot of ways both of them have been better this year than their spot in the points currently shows. And both of which now have had to charge back from adversity. Bell with the injury, Briscoe having to claw his way up the point standings, and we'll look at that in a little bit, but he's done a great job. If you're a contender, you don't want them getting into that top group. And we'll look at the points in a bit. They're getting closer and closer. Those teams both get better as the year goes on. And I think this could be the start of a really big push. Toyota still definitely, I would say overall, is the better of the manufacturers right now, but there's more thunder. Chevy and Hendrick, I will say, I want to point out them too. They're catching up. I really think we're going to see an interesting battle down the stretch, but man, Toyota's the one to beat. Really easy right now. No one's beat them. I think it's 12 and 19 so far this year.
and 7 Toyotas finished top 10 on Sunday. That doesn't include Tyler Reddick, who, if not for mechanical failure, would have probably been in that mix as well. But Danny, what can you say about Toyota?
Toyota, like you said, outside of Reddick, they are just looking phenomenal. Even Riley Herbst, I think he got a top 10. That's something I should have done as a prediction, but I told Peter Strada morning up in the media center, I was like, watch Riley Herbst. I think he'll get a top 10 tonight, and he did. They're all figuring out right. I ended up seeing a lot of Chase Briscoe actually over the weekend because I went to the Trackside Chapel thing they were doing that morning, and Chase Briscoe was there speaking at it, and talked to him beforehand, backstage behind it, and then listened to him and McDowell speaking, and then there he was winning, and so I ended up being around Briscoe a lot, and for good reason, and made for good content. I was filming a Little Did I Know throughout the entire day. But I think he's proven there's a reason why at the start of the year when we gave our, what do we think is going to look like with the Chase grid, there's a reason I had Chase Briscoe as my number 1 seed coming out of this. And, it took him a while to get going, but I think he's starting to prove exactly what my thinking was all along with it. Because like we said, he finished second at Sonoma last week, then he won this week. I mean, for all we know, Bell could be in the same situation. He could be second last week and could win this weekend at Echo Park Speedway.
Chase Briscoe's 2026 is very similar to his 2025, or has the potential at least to be, because he was pretty good. He fired off fast last year, if I recall. Wasn't he on pole at Daytona at the beginning of the year? Maybe that was this year. I don't get my years mixed up, but he showed some glimpses, but it was his first year with Toyota, first year with JGR, James Small. Took him a while, but then they won Pocono around this same time last year. They won that Pocono race kind of in a similar fashion. It was a long run. He had to air block a little, pick and choose his lanes the right way. He wins that race at Pocono. And then the second half of last season, you look at the stats, there's an argument Chase Briscoe was the best driver in the Cup Series second half of last season. Now, is he about to go on that same kind of run this season? There's 15, 18, 20 races to go, whatever the case may be. So it's too early to say, but he did it last year. If he does it again this year, again, Jarrett said, we'll look at the points. He is up to 8th in the points, I believe. If he gets into that top 5, top 6 by the end of the regular season, he could be within striking distance. And if Danny or Reddick or, Larson, whoever, Blaney, if they falter, I'm kind of with you guys. Like Chase Briscoe seems to get better as the year goes on. So something to watch for sure. Christopher Bell hard on himself afterwards, but I got to give Bell credit. Back-to-back weeks, top 5 at Sonoma, still with that injured wrist. Backs that up with a second place run here. He's injured. He's not 100%. And yet I think he's put together maybe his 2 best races of the season back to back. So to your point as well, Jarrett, that's another guy. If he gets hot, watch out. Yeah. Watch out. And Jarrett, you mentioned Hendrick Motorsports. I want to talk about this guy a little bit. 2 guys, really. We'll start with Kyle Larson because he looked like he was going to get his 5th or 6th top 5 finish in a row. Spins out. William Byron, however, I think he led the most laps. Let me make sure I got that stuff right.
Like 92,
Byron,
I think.
94. William 94? Byron led the most laps, swept the stages, finished 4th, faded on the long run, it seemed. But Jarrett, how impressed were you with Hendrick, or maybe how far do they still have to go to consistently beat the Toyotas?
I think they got him on the short run speed at this point. I'll say this: if it is a close championship battle and one of the Hendrick cars is racing one of the Toyotas, it'd be really hard, knowing the momentum they've got so far, how much they've gained, to not bet on the Hendrick car in a 15-lap run. Those long runs, though, I think Dirty Def, I put on the screen there, said Toyota's got him beat. But watching that race, I was like, man, this is the Byron I'm used to watching. The one who leads a bunch of laps, the one who goes out there and kind of stinks up to show a bit. Plenty of lead changes. I think there were 28, which is a new track record. Larson, I think, could have competed for the win before his issues. Alex Bowman, top 5 finish. He was coming on really strong at the end.
How about Alex Bowman?
I was saving that for Danny. I was going to bring that up. I know chat was like, what about Bowman? Like, yeah, I was getting there. I wanted to tee up Danny.
That one's all me right there. And I tell you what, he had a little bit of, swagger in his day. He started his day off. They unveiled his plaque there outside of the Speedway, which was pretty cool to be there for that. So pretty cool. They recognized his win there from a couple years ago. And hey, I got a prediction right because he did finish top 5. But I will say this, I think they were starting to figure that car out at the end. You're talking about Hendrick having short run speed, but long run at 48 was about equal looking with some of the other cars out there. Denny Hamlin, him and Hamlin were were just closing on them there at the end. Had anything happened that this race would have ran into the night, similar to Alex Bowman's 2019 win, possible we could have been talking about different people, because it seemed like once the sun was going down, those cars were starting to come to life more so than the ones we actually saw winning this race.
It was, I mean, I think Alex, he had a couple third place finishes earlier in the season, now a fifth, one of his best races for sure of the season. And, it comes, like a week or so after all
You
the
see
talk
some-
about his
You see
future.
stuff like this, and it's making you wonder, like, what did things look like? And I've seen someone bringing up some interesting points here. Alex Bowman has just as many top fives this season as Bubba Wallace, one more
Ryan
than
Blaney,
Douglas
right?
Suarez, same as Ryan Blaney, one more than Chris Buescher. I mean, had he not missed those 4 races, I mean, it's untelling what things could have looked like. At this point, he's moved up to 29th in the points. He's got 266. Austin Dillon has 293. And then the next one from there is John Hunter Nemechek, 325. But, before things are all said and done, by the end of the year, when we get to Homestead, I mean, it's not out of the question he could finish a top 25 driver this season.
No,
Yeah,
I don't think it's out of the question at all.
Yeah, considering the 4 races missed, the reason why he missed those races, all the questions surrounding his future still, it sounds like he himself maybe hasn't fully made a decision on next year. The team hasn't made a decision yet on next season. There are a lot of variables that Bowman has to weigh. So it was cool to see him get a top 5 finish this weekend. I'll ask the big question at the end. I actually want to get into a couple more key moments from the race before we move on to our broader Chicagoland conversation. Stage 1 looked like Martinsville. Apparently everybody waited to get their redemption for Chicagoland. So it started with Zane Smith, just pile driving Carson Hocevar. Just shipped him into the fence, wrecked himself. You've all heard the jokes, the references to Landon Castle's old quote. He broke the #1 rule of stock car racing. If you're going to pay someone back, if you're going to wreck someone, you got to do it without wrecking yourself. Zane Smith broke that rule. Reactions, gentlemen, because I don't think these guys have a real recent history, not a very visible one, at least. Last year at Iowa, I know Hocevar made a mistake and spun out Zane Smith, but I'm hard-pressed to find a glaring incident between the two since then. But what did you guys make of this?
Well, I mean, the in-car camera, Carson was looking in his rearview mirror the entire time and was bracing for it coming based on the footage that was on social media. So I'm wondering if maybe something happened like the lap before or whatever. I'll admit there was no internet at the track. It was really.
I haven't watched the whole. I didn't watch the whole first 30 or 40 laps necessarily, but I went back and scrubbed, and I'm like, I didn't see anything glaring, but maybe I missed something too. Maybe I don't know.
Let's be honest. He probably got into him multiple times during this season alone.
It's got to be just stuff that we've missed over the year. That's the only thing that could come to me on that one.
But I mean, a lot of the, I think, conversation after the whole Priest deal, because that's going to be just overarching all of this, is letting the drivers police themselves, and if it goes overboard, it goes overboard. Neither of them were penalized, and then the one we'll talk about in a bit, neither one were penalized either. So I just, for me, I guess it's just more, I want to have overall consistency with how these things are called. If we're gonna let it happen and do boys have at it, let's let it happen and do boys have at it. If we're gonna base it off of intent, it can't just be radio intent, because some seemed a little more egregious than that one with Ty Gibbs and Ryan Preece a few months ago. I guess that's my take on both these incidents. I know we'll get to the Hill and SVG one because they both hate each other too. Yeah. He just grunts, or Van Gubenheimer, I think is what they were saying.
Something like that. Van Goofy Goober. I don't know.
Van Guggenheimer, I think, is the name he chose for him.
That'll be on a t-shirt. If it's not already, it should be soon. If Trackhouse has merch people in the building. No, we can conflate the two. Well, I do think the host of our situation in particular, sure, if you want to say go back to Iowa last year when Zane got wrecked, okay, I guess Carson was owed this. I guess it was fair of Zane to, eye for an eye. I don't know. I guess we've seen over the last few weeks now a few guys take their shots at Carson Hocevar, and you just wonder, like, who's next? Who's going to be the next guy to go in there and just clean him out? And, Corey Heim kind of did it at San Diego. We have Zane Smith here. This was more blatant, I think, and less at stake. They're racing for 20th or whatever it was. But
I brought this up. I mean, when we were talking about a few months ago before anyone had done anything, and I brought up, like, where's the repercussions at? We're not seeing it yet. So what's the incentive for him to maybe pick and choose battles differently? I think we're starting to finally see the repercussions play out. And it's at a crucial time where every point is going to matter. Spire already was pretty slow. Denny Hamlin pointed that out, especially on his actions detrimental. It's a really close battle too. I mean, Carson Hocevar could leave this week at Atlanta in the top 5 in points. He could also leave this week in Atlanta 13th in points. So every point is going to matter down the stretch with this stuff. And these guys, a lot of them have raced in series like that before, or maybe been around long enough to race in NASCAR when it was like this. They're going to understand that, and these little things are going to add up over time, even if it's not just spinning him out, even if it's just making life hell for him. So I think that's kind of that. It's all of those things coming to roost. I guess you did ask a question. Who should we place the bets on to do it next? I'm going Ricky Stenhouse. I feel like he has a few in the chamber for him.
I don't know.
Anyone could be around anybody this weekend at Atlanta, so you never know.
They'll both probably be near the front at some point. Yeah, I don't know. I guess the way I look at it is like, Heim kind of took a shot at him at San Diego, and they both seem to be relatively in good spirits. Like, Hocevar was like, yeah, I kind of deserve that. It is what it is. Zane takes this shot, and I know Carson Hocevar streaming right now. I haven't heard him say anything overall. It feels like Hocevar is just kind of like, all right, I guess that is what it is. I guess I just wonder, will there come a point where somebody takes a shot at Hocevar and he's like, I didn't deserve that one. And then he lashes out. You're like, I just wonder how this could, escalate, I suppose. But okay, the Hocevar Zane one, interesting, but there's less of a backstory there. There's a much denser, deeper backstory between Shane Van Goofy Guggenheim, Oppenheimer, Shane Van Gisbergen, and Austin Hill. Oh, I'm excited for the new Christopher Nolan movie when that comes out, I guess, pretty soon. SVG versus Austin Hill. So we know we could go back to their O'Reilly series days. They got into it on road courses a couple of times. We remember SVG kind of got the last laugh at Sonoma with that epic burnout basically in Austin Hill's face. Fast forward now to this season. Hill is in Cup. He got, put SVG in a tough spot at Pocono, squeezed him, caused Shane to crash there. Hill missed the restart at San Diego. Again, he's caused Shane to crash twice in the last couple of months. I guess the nice way to put it is Shane caused Austin Hill to crash at Chicagoland this weekend. Maybe you could say he just didn't cut him a break. That's another way maybe to interpret things, but it looked a lot like when Ryan Preece drove into Ty Gibbs, or at least got close to Ty Gibbs at Texas and caused Ty Gibbs crash. Very, very similar incident. Austin Hill obviously was not happy. You've probably seen a replay of Austin Hill then pulling out on track and kind of sideswiping SVG under caution. Jared alluded to this earlier, but after the weekend, NASCAR came out and said no penalties for anyone. No penalties for SVG for seemingly intentionally wrecking Austin Hill. That's how it looks. Other drivers have all said that's what it looks like. No penalties for Austin Hill going out on track under caution and rubbing doors with SVG. Little surprise there as well. Gentlemen, do you have any reaction? I'll start with you on this, Danny. Reaction to this latest and perhaps most interesting chapter in the SVG Austin Hill rivalry.
That word right there is the one. Interesting for sure. But I'll say this, gentlemen, drop it this weekend because this is too dangerous of a track to be carrying over. Any frustrations like this, Austin Hill, keep your mind cool. This is one of your best style tracks. You're in the best car you've ever had for a Cup Series race to possibly win one this weekend. Yes, he's attempted these type of races before in the 33, but that was when it was like the extra RCR car. You are in what was the 8. You are in Kyle Busch's car. This is going to be the best car that Austin Hill has ever had in his entire Cup Series career. And it's been 8 races since the unfortunate passing of Kyle Busch. We're at Atlanta, just like in 01. It was 3 races after Dale Earnhardt's passing, when Kevin Harvick and that team won. This one has got to be circled to focus. This is a great opportunity for him to get his mind right this week and potentially contend for a win this weekend in the Cup Series. That's all I'll say. Too much at play right now for your team and your organization. Drop it.
Yeah, I mean,
you could say the same for Shane with the points situation Shane is in, but then I'll let you go, Jared.
Yeah, and if they want to punch each other in the face, they can do that at Wilkesboro the week after. But I think it was almost exactly like the same as the whole Priest deal. The only difference is that Shane didn't say anything over the radio. I feel like if anyone was actually going to get penalized, especially since nothing was over the radio, I feel like it would have actually been Austin Hill, because NASCAR is a lot more strict on under caution shenanigans and things like that. I just the whole deal with saying it over the radio or having intent and anything like that. I hate saying this because generally I don't like NASCAR having these kind of calls, but I almost feel like you have to just ball and strike it, where it's like if it's overboard or not, and almost I guess the result more than what happens, because it feels inconsistent, even though technically NASCAR could justify that it is. I mean, if you take the radio out of it and you look at those side by side, you black out the cars, you don't know who's in what.
Yeah.
They're interchangeable at this point.
Same. Yeah.
Yeah. And in Shane's case, he's well in the chase right now, and he's going to be battling that whole time. In Ryan Preece's case, that penalty is the difference right now between him being 17th and being 16th. So I'm not crazy about it, just because outside of radio, it feels wildly inconsistent based on the visual.
Yeah, I just think it's lame. I personally think it's very lame that, NASCAR is seemingly unable to discern intent without the driver straight up spelling it out for them in black and white. This was on purpose. Like, I feel like NASCAR is more sophisticated than that. Like, they should be able to tell, like you're saying, when 2 or 3 incidents are exactly the same. I would argue what SVG and what Zane did, for that matter, this weekend were both more egregious than what Ryan Preece did to Ty Gibbs, but they're in the same genre. I'm with you. I feel like NASCAR made the right no call on SVG this weekend, but it feels kind of like the wrong call because of the Preece penalty. And these are two guys, to your point, who are neck and neck for one of the final chase spots. So it certainly feels like Ryan Preece got the short end of this stick. But if going forward, NASCAR can just set this simple precedent that, hey, we don't really care what you say over the radio. Obviously we don't want things to get crazy out of hand, but really, like you're saying, balls and strikes. A right rear hook head on into the fence at high speeds, that's a penalty. That's usually a suspension. You're wrecking someone under caution or after the race when, we're no longer on pit road. That can be a penalty, safety concerns, all that. And you could even say, Austin Dillon at Richmond drove in from 5 car lengths back, clearly not even close to a racing move, took out 2 cars in one set of corners. You could say, okay, that cross line, those are penalty worthy. But bumper to bumper contact, a bump and run gone wrong with the packing air like Preece did to Ty Gibbs. I think no matter what you say on the radio, that's just self-policing. That's just hard racing. Let the 2 guys settle it themselves. I think that's the precedent they need to set going forward.
Well, I mean, all you've done is incentivize the drivers to shut up and not be entertaining. You haven't incentivized it to go away. You've just incentivized a certain way of doing it.
Exactly. No, I fully agree. I think we want these rivalries. And it's like, now it feels like everyone has to tiptoe around each other. Like, everyone has to tiptoe around what they say in the media, what they say over the radio. You even hear it over Austin Hill's radio. After this happens, they're literally telling him to shut up. Don't say anything. It's like, that's not good TV. That's not good content. This is a content business. Yes, it's a sport. Obviously, the sacredness of the competition should be preserved, but it's on national TV. It's on streaming. It's on social media. There's dozens of podcasts it is also entertainment. And you are, I think, robbing the fans of juicy week-to-week content for no reason. Because at the end of the day, like you said, if you just put the 3 incidents, Zane Hocevar, SVG Hill, Preece Gibbs, if you put them side by side, they all look essentially exactly the same. One was a penalty. The other 2 were not. NASCAR is consistent. He said it over the radio. So that's fine. I just think that's a dumb rule. I think they need to drop the whole, radio is the only piece of evidence we care about, because it's just dumb. It makes NASCAR look like a not so sophisticated motorsport series, in my opinion.
And that's where I'll address this. Like, yes, by the letter of the law that they stepped out and said this is the right call.
Yeah.
We're criticizing the rule, and in fact, like you said about sophistication, we all hail the SMT data until it has something to do with this, and then we're just going to go by the radio. Like, and even what Priest said, really, honestly, it wasn't that bad.
No, it was. You could make the argument. And the thing that drives me still crazy about the Priest thing is he had multiple. You go back and watch the in-car after he said what he said, and before the wreck, he had multiple laps where he could have taken a cheap shot at Ty Gibbs, but didn't do it. He waited until Ty Gibbs put himself in an aggressive, vulnerable spot to pack air. Like, that's the thing. It's not like he first chance he got drove in red, like hot-headed and wrecked him. It's just, I just think it's frustrating. I think you need to take the radio part out of it, obviously. That's what I think NASCAR, they can't be in the business of that being the only evidence that matters. So I don't know. NASCAR is a sport that traditionally does not police aggressive driving unless it really crosses line. It's not like the FIA. It's not like open wheel racing, IndyCar. It's not like most other major sports series. If you're not going to step in and police the initial contact, you cannot over police the retaliation. It's easy for the retaliation to cross a line. I spelled out 3 or 4 examples where it would cross the line. Bumper to bumper, bump and run, in traffic, not cutting someone a break. That should never be a penalty, in my opinion. But anyway, I think we're all in agreement, though. SVG, no penalty. I agree with you, though, Jarrett, the Austin Hill not getting like a fine. A little surprised. I'm a little surprised by that, because he did say over the radio, watch this, or just wait. He said, just wait. He said that over the radio, and then he went out and drove into SVG's door under caution. I'm surprised that wasn't a fine, but
I think I was kind of surprised that there wasn't any kind of mention of like sensitivity training for what he called him with his name and stuff, but I don't know.
That was the spotter, though, to be fair. I do believe that was.
I thought that was Austin Hill to call him Van Guggenheimer.
I believe that was Derek Nealand.
RCR spotters getting their drivers into deeper shit. I never heard of that one before.
Richard Childress on the radios. Like they love to. Richard Childress was the one making most of ours appearance a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
They're busy radios over there out of Welcome, North Carolina. But so again, if you're just catching up, you're just tuning in, maybe you haven't seen the news. Yeah, no penalty for anyone regarding on-track incidents Sunday at Chicagoland Speedway. Good conversation, gentlemen. Real quick, one last race point I think we should mention. Tyler Reddick, and this can kind of lobby into our points a little.
Yeah.
Tyler Reddick, another, not a DNF. I think he came back out and finished the race 20 laps down, but it's his 4th finish of 25th or worse in the last 5 weeks. It's been a rough month for what was our points leader. Now he finds himself 44 points behind Denny Hamlin. Danny, I'll start with you. Are you surprised to see Reddick in this deep of a hole, to see that swing so suddenly? Do you think it's over? Do you think Reddick at this point is just trying to hang on to second? What do you think?
I mean, I still think they're capable of winning some more races. It's been an awful slump. I don't remember where he was running before he had his issue, but I mean, and I still don't know, because it's tough for me to tell in person. Do we know what exactly caused this big hole in the radiator?
I think he hit a piece of debris. I think that's
debris.
Yeah.
I mean, because I went over there to the check out the situation of what they were doing, and they ripped out the radiator, put a new radiator into it. And even when they got that thing out, it still was leaking fluids out of it, just sitting there on the ground. Like it still was just letting out whatever it could. And the car itself, it's a shame it's happened, because it was a very beautiful, Jordan paint scheme, white base, but then just oil everywhere on this thing. It looked like someone had just spilled coffee all over it. That's how brown and stained it had become.
Don't drink the forbidden chocolate milk.
Yes. Or in this case, the forbidden Mountain Dew, because that stuff was coming out of it was green looking.
Don't do that, Dew. No. Jarrett's got the points up on screen. Jarrett, I'll turn it over to you. Surprised to see this midsummer collapse from Reddick?
I mean, every team has slumps during the year. I mean, people forget that Jimmy Johnson, the majority of his years that he won is 7 championships. A lot of the conversation will be about like, man, the 48 team's not looking good. Things happen. You know, I know it's different than maybe how Reddick had it happen in some of these, but I'm not really too worried. I mean, Tyler Reddick could go out and get the season sweep at Atlanta this weekend. Denny could run 36. Then we're having another big swap of points and he's leading. So I'm not really too worried about him being up there just because there are still some tracks that go in the 45's favor the rest of the way compared to the 11. 2 super speedways. Denny Hamlin has been atrocious at these in the next gen era. But I will say if after this weekend, we said that about the road courses going in and look what happened. If Denny has a larger points lead leaving Atlanta, heading to North Wilkesboro and Indianapolis before this last break of the season, it's going to spell trouble for the rest of the field because Denny Hamlin having a 25-point gap at minimum over the rest of his competitors is not where they want to be heading into this year's chase.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Yeah, and I kind of agree, like, these final 7 regular season races, the 2 super speedways and maybe Indy, you could argue, are in Reddick's favor, but like the super speedways are such wild cards, whereas the other 4 are all short track adjacent. I think that favors Denny. So I think the regular season time, I'm not going to say it's wrapped up because if we're starting to say that when it was a 120-point gap the other way, we saw that age. So I'm not going to say it's wrapped up, but I certainly feel at this point very strong 90-10 in favor of Denny Hamlin winning the regular season championship. I'll say this about Reddick, though. The collapse is substantial, but outside of maybe San Diego, where, you know, he was racing Corey Heim, kind of got gifted that track position, was racing Heim and then contact, cuts a tire, whatever led to that. Other than San Diego, like Michigan, he gets caught up in a wreck running top 5. That's not his fault. Mechanical steering issue at Sonoma, random debris going through the radiator here. Like most of these bad days the past month or so have been kind of fluky. So at some point you expect, you know, he had nothing but good luck in the spring. Now he seems to have nothing but bad luck. I think the luck will turn back in his favor sooner than later. So I think Reddick's still live for the championship. I just think the regular season championship, it's going to be tough sledding these next few weeks. Who else stands out to y'all?
I want to point out Briscoe. He's only, I believe, 46 behind Elliott for 5th. That's doable. That's really doable. I don't know about catching Ty Gibbs, but they've been saying all season, top 4 or 5 or 6. That's where you want to be. We talked about Briscoe being on fire towards the end of the year. This 19 team getting better as it goes. That's a sneaky one, I think, to watch. I mean,
wins makes such a big difference. He gained 3 spots on this win alone. He gets a couple more wins. It becomes a little bit more doable.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. That's you were saying earlier, like it's pretty tight between like 7th on back, 7th through 13th, at least on the graphic we're looking at right now. But if you flip it to the next,
at this point, it's all about just trying to position yourself in the right spot for when we do, you know, I say quote reset. You know, it's not like a total reset, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, every spot in the regular season standings is at least 5 points, a 5-point deficit or swing come the chase. Speaking of the bubble, SVG still 30 points above. Cindric plus 27. Austin Cindric had a solid top 10, top 15 run this past weekend. Even led some laps on strategy, which was cool. Eric Jones, though, is holding on to the final chase spot, plus 4 points over Preece. Then it's Joey.
I would have
AJ,
never thought
Brad.
earlier this year that Jones would be in this conversation. So that's just incredible.
I mean, he had those 2 road races weren't great, but we go right back to an oval and he's, you know, top 15. Like that's, I think if he just avoids bad luck, they're probably going to be in this conversation through the end.
And this isn't even a knock at Eric Jones because I saw him win races for Joe Gibbs Racing, saw him win a Darlington race for what they even called themselves then, Petty GMS. Is that what they were in that era? So that was Petty GMS. We saw him, get a win now, but I was not having confidence in Legacy for a long time, and I'm still iffy on them. But the fact that they've even positioned themselves right here is an incredible turnaround, in my opinion.
Well, I think it was DBC mentioned that they're like the last couple of weeks have started paying for and getting more information and collaboration with Joe Gibbs Racing, which is going to help them the same way it has with 2311. I find it funny. It coincides with Brad Keselowski getting very vocal about that, seeing how he is 20th in the points. But AJ Allmendinger, 16 points out right now. No factory support, a team that is more than likely switching to Dodge next year, if not the year after. It is nothing short of a miracle he's this high up in points. The fact that there is a real shot that he could make the chase with this being said, imagine if he had just a semi-decent team underneath him. Because I think Colleague and AJ and this 16 team are woefully overperforming what the equipment is.
Have I read that Ty Dillon will not be joining him as a teammate next year, or am I mistaken?
We'll talk about that in a bit.
It's just rumor. We don't know at this point. But I'm going to say, like, AJ being 19th, tied 18th, is as much a compliment to him as it is, frankly, an indictment on, like, the 20th place on, like, the mid-pack guys.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of guys this, like, Michael McDowell, compared to his teammates, is having a terrible season. Ross Chastain, we know about Trackhouse. Trackhouse looks lost. The fact that Ross Chastain isn't on this list and AJ Allmendinger is crazy. So I think AJ's having a great year, no doubt. But I honestly think it also just speaks to how off a few of these other notable teams. I mean, Joey Logano, I don't actually think this is getting enough attention. But the fact that he's 18th in points right now, 3-time champion, 30-something wins, the fact that he's 18th in points while his teammate Ryan Blaney is third, and just scored his, like, 8th top 10 in a row. Like, what is going on with Joey Logano and Paul Wolfe? Those are two guys who will both be on the Hall of Fame ballot one day, most likely. Logano will be in, and they're 18th in points. What the hell's going on?
39 points behind Cindric. I mean, the amount of, it might not be as many spots, but the amount of points that he trails even the 2 team this year is, quite frankly, I think embarrassing. This year is embarrassing for Joey Logano. This for all the people who for years have been defending him and been like, no, he's just doing what he has to do in the format. Like, no, he's running worse now than he ran before.
Season. This is probably his worst year since his rookie year, or maybe one of his first JGR years.
Yeah, it has to be, right? Since 2011 at least.
Yeah. Whew, pretty bad. Anyway, there's the points. We need to move on. We got more we got to get to. Before we get into the numbers and we talk about the O'Reilly race, I just want to wrap up with this. Jared, I know this place is near and dear to your heart. Now, Danny and I have both seen it, been to races there in person. I think we both had a good time. Do you think Chicagoland Speedway will be back on the schedule next year, beyond? Can it coexist alongside the street race, as Ben Kennedy suggested? What do you think? What do you think the future of Chicagoland is?
So I found out a few interesting nuggets about that on top of what was publicly reported. So I found out that the street race was actually, from a few sources I talked to, was supposed to be announced a few weeks ago. That's why there was all that steam around it. It coincided with another Chicago sports happening, in which the Illinois and Chicago governments have now put all other major events on hold to try and, fix a FUBAR situation. The Bears leaving. Like, basically it was ready to go, ready to sign. And then the Bears up and said, screw this, we're done with Illinois' crap, which having moved away, even as a Viking fan, I feel that. I think there's a tightrope that can be walked with that, of both of them working. You put it, the Chicago street race after the 600, and then you put Chicagoland in like August or the start of September when it's still warm out. I think the 4th of July, the fact that this weekend was a sellout, over 50,000 people there, and able to run mostly uninterrupted, was a miracle, because it was put behind the 8 ball with the date, with the weather, with the workforce, with it. Every single thing around this weekend should have been a disaster completely, and it wasn't. So I think it will be. I think it should be given a fair shake on an area that's not a holiday weekend. Next year, 4th is on a Sunday, so whichever track ends up there either needs to be Saturday night or during the day, because nobody's watching during 4th of July fireworks. But I think it has proven it deserves at least another year. I personally think it deserves that 3-year window that all of these tracks get. I mean, they put so much money into it.
Hearing you say something about 4th of July fireworks, I just want to point out one thing. The cameras, I don't think, did it justice of how foggy it was getting on the true 4th of July.
Oh yeah, on
In
Saturday night.
it was foggy enough for us at Chicagoland Speedway. I saw a video from Chicago itself where they were doing a big fireworks show. People legitimately could not even see the fireworks show because the fog was that bad in downtown Chicago. And it was straight up fog. It was not smog from fireworks going off. It was the temps were going down after a bunch of rain. It got foggy in the Chicago area.
I just asked our chat, what do you hope happens in Chicago going forward? 53% of fans said just go to Chicagoland. 3% said go to just the street race. 44% of our audience would love to see both somehow coexist on the schedule. And I guess I fall into that category. Well, no, here's what I've said for a couple of years now. I think a street race a year in a city center would be awesome. I don't necessarily think we need two. Like, we've had Chicago the last 3 years, San Diego this year. I mean, I guess you could throw Mexico City. We had that last year as well. Maybe that comes back in the future. But I think a street race would probably be best served in a market that doesn't already have a ready and willing racetrack within the region. And Chicagoland Speedway, I will say this, it's out there. I've heard it used to be even more rural. It's built up compared to 15 years ago. It's a long 45, 50-minute drive from Chicagoland Speedway to the city. But a lot of fans going to Chicagoland Speedway don't live in the city. Like, I think the vibe I get is that for fans within a couple hours of this racetrack, what would you rather have your one race a year be? Chicagoland, which feels like it feels a lot like Kansas, looks kind of like Kansas. It's just a classic 1.5 mile basic NASCAR race, solid camping scene. It's okay. Or would you rather be the street race, which is very different than most everything else on the schedule? It's hard to drive to, hard to park. It's more expensive. And I just think the average NASCAR fan in the region is probably like, no, I'd rather my one race a year be a track like Chicagoland. It looks more like everything else. It feels more traditionally NASCAR. I think these street races are great. I thought San Diego was awesome, but I think they're probably best served in markets that otherwise don't have traditional NASCAR tracks waiting to be used. So, I mean, yeah, we'll look at the ratings in a moment, but between attendance and ratings, I think Chicagoland's earned another year.
I'll give my thoughts on it real quick. I think I would like to see Chicagoland come back and stay. Don't get rid of it. And my thoughts are overall, when it comes to the street course, like where I'm at with it, I think it's going to get kind of like Bristol dirt. After a few years of it, it's going to start getting redundant. You're starting to wonder, why are we still doing this? I've already seen this a few times. There are traditional tracks, traditional style of races you like to see staying, as is, and I feel like Chicagoland fits into that mold. But the street course, and it's kind of like the Clash at the LA Coliseum. We went to the first year. A lot of people showed up. Very exciting. And then what it looked like 3 years later, it started to kind of get a little dull. I know the Chicago street course wasn't necessarily running into that issue, but I want this to be, if we're going to a street course, and the point of a street course is to take it to places that have never seen NASCAR before, why would we continuously take it to Chicago every single year? This needs to be an event that is marketed to tourism and hospitality boards across all of the United States, to where they should be contending and saying, hey, my city should get this. No, my city should get this. Back off. I want this in my city. It should be in the same realm as a Super Bowl, a WrestleMania. This should be a big ticket thing that you want to come to your city to drive up the tourism, to drive up the hotels, to drive up the overall, revenue for everything coming into your city because of this one event happening. If we want to, as Jake Bynum says, if we want to go to New York City, let's go do a New York City street race. If we want to go, my personal pick, let's go to New Orleans. Let's do a New Orleans street race. Let's go do a Denver street race. These cities should be willing to bid on the opportunity to have NASCAR come to their city, for that year. And then if they can try to get them a few years later, great. But NASCAR should work to take this, to many different places. Let's not just waste it all on the same city every year.
Well, I'll play the devil's advocate side of it, because I am for long term. I think we should focus on the tracks that are in the area if we're going to double dip like this. there's two arguments that I've seen that I do think kind of make sense. And I'd be interested at least for 1 year to see how they play out in practice. One of them is simply, we have 10 races in the Carolinas, and Eastern Tennessee region, Virginia, around there, that all are basically the same audience. Now, we've seen a bit of oversaturation based on the attendance and things like that. The other one is what I mentioned before, the double dipping theory of a tightrope here. And is that the majority of the people that show up to each one don't really mingle as much. Like, we are the three of us are the exceptions on this. Like, at some point, if it's around enough, I'd probably attend the Chicago street race at some point. It's not really my thing. I don't have like an urge to go see it. But I would like to go to San Diego if it fits on a really good weekend. It seemed like it'd be pretty cool. If they did it in Nashville, I'd go and see it. Like, it give me intrigue. But when we were at the tweet up, Jeff was asking, like, what one would you prefer? And literally everybody there was like Chicagoland, and I'm sure at the street race, a lot of people,
it might be flipped a little, but yeah, sure.
But I guess the idea would be, if you can get the street race to be this big thing where 50, 60, 70, maybe at some point one day, 80 to 100,000 people show up, if it becomes a consistent marquee event, how many of those people are new, which was generally a lot of them? How many of them can you then flip to say, hey, you're not really into football, you don't want to watch the Gary Bears? So, you know what, go to Chicagoland for the second week of September, and make a concerted effort to build up Chicagoland with the Chicago street race. The same way we kind of talked about building up the Daytona 500 with the Clash being back at Daytona. So I can see the theory. I don't necessarily think that it's going to line up as much as many people on that side of it think, but I can at least understand the rationale on this one. But I'm with you guys. I would like to see it as a rotating deal. 2 is very much pushing it. I can live with 2 street races. I'm not crazy about the idea.
One
maybe
is perfect.
I agree, but maybe if NASCAR could hit it right in the 3rd biggest market in America and have a firmly entrenched fan base there, that would long term bring them a lot further than just Chicagoland Speedway itself. So I get it. I would like to see it in practice at least 1 year.
Yeah,
I think it'd be interesting if they doubled up, because I do agree they're 2 very different audiences. That's at the end of the day, like, that's very different overlap.
Yeah, like I said, I think I want to see it. I want to see straight racing continue, but I want it to be something that, I want a Los Angeles street race. I want a San Francisco. I want a Houston, Texas. I want, a bunch of cities that don't typically get, NASCAR exposure. And, I mentioned Houston. Eric, you're from there, but you know how far away it is from Houston to Texas Motor Speedway. I guess Circuit America is a little bit closer now, but
But yeah.
But
RIP Texas World Speedway.
An Oklahoma City, a Denver, Colorado, a
Montreal.
A Montreal, a Minneapolis, anything. There's tons of cities out there that don't have any kind of opportunity like this. A Seattle, Washington, it'd be a far drive, but it would be an interesting one.
Yeah, I think perfect road would be nice to see them rotate it. I also do agree with Jarrett that the street race and the speedway could potentially coexist on the schedule because they speak to such different audiences. Like, for example, like, I enjoyed Chicagoland. I think it was fun. Again, if you're a regional fan, that might be the race you go to. It's not a destination race. I know this weekend they had like 29 different countries bought tickets. I think that's probably because it was the first one in 7 years, might be the only. I think that's part of it. I don't see that year to year being a destination race, just because of how far outside the city it is. And once you get to the track, I mean,
I will say I enjoyed my drive in every day. The traffic wasn't ever bad for me going in, which granted doing the media side of things, I get in there a little bit earlier than most fans.
It's usually worse, buddy. Yeah. You got ahead of it.
I just it's a great track. If that was my home track, I'd be like, this is solid. But I'm just saying,
we were staying was in a town called Bolingbrook, Illinois. So it was about a 35 to 40 minute drive for us, and it brought us down Route 66 every time. So that was very fun. And there was like a little park there. It had like Route 66 signage too.
Yeah, it's a good track. Again, if that's your home track, I get it. Like, it's has all the classic fixins of a NASCAR racetrack, but it's like the Chicago street race would be more of a destination. You make a vacation out of it the way folks did for San Diego. So it would be a very different audience. Will be interesting to see if they squeeze them both onto the schedule next year or not. It might come down to if they can get a deal done in San Diego to bring that back for another year, or Mexico City. If those fall through, maybe they'll have to put Chicago on the schedule, because it sounds like, TV partners like having a big urban street race they can sell to their constituents. So we'll see. We'll see if what happens in 2027 and beyond. Let's talk ratings real quick before we move on. I know we're nearing the halfway point of the show. Cup Series ratings on TNT for Chicagoland, 2.1 million average viewers. That's plus 3% over the street race a year ago. Now, if you look at the I think it's Big Panel Plus data, or the data only the other way, it's actually 2.3 million average viewers, which would be a 14% increase year over year compared to last year's street race. I will say, I think that's a really good number for Chicagoland. It also does help, I think, being a little later in the day, that more prime time slot helps as well. But again, for the noon truthers, these numbers are, I think, part of why that unfortunately hasn't been the trend lately. O'Reilly Series, only 629,000 viewers, but remember that race was delayed several hours. And it sounded like, at least at first, a lot of local affiliates weren't showing it instead. Like, people had to, I saw Gluck and others tweeting about how they had to call their local station to get them to switch over to the race late that night. So yeah.
I like CW, but this is getting ridiculous. The amount of problems these individual, this is what's going to hold them back from being a Fox, CBS like they want to be with sports. I think we could giving them a year or so leeway on it's okay, but the fact that they haven't got their shit together almost 2 years in, it's just at this point amateur hour for a lot of these stations.
I mean, it was like a 5-hour delay. I'm sure. I don't know. Their hands are tied. They're probably asleep at the switch. Oh shoot, that race we have the rescue is on now. I thought that was earlier today. They're just okay.
It is the one thing a day until college football season that people actually watch the CW for, though.
Well, that's probably true. I mean, what are they got reruns of Friends or Young Sheldon, whatever else. The poll, the famous iceberg toll. It's toll. It's like
the famous iceberg toll.
If you were in Illinois, you're paying tolls.
Pay the toll, chat. No free rides here on the NASCAR. No, I'm sorry. The famous iceberg.
All the super chats have covered the tolls. Thank you, guys.
Yes, actually, very, very true.
Not if you live in Illinois, they don't. 10,000 votes, 36 great, 53 good, 89 positive, 9 average, and 2% negative. So all time, this is second of 2 Chicagoland races. That 2019 one was in the 90% club. Top 10, though, 10th of 64 polled mile-and-a-half races, and the 4th highest voted race of 2026 out of 21 polled. Spencer, again, with the first comment, positive, negative, or meme?
This is going to be a meme, has to be. Or no, it's going to be positive. Welcome back to Chicagoland.
Okay, I've seen enough. Let's keep racing at Chicagoland every year. Do not move away from this track again.
All right, glad I pivoted. That's positive.
Very positive.
Matt had the top one saying, restart's amazing, cautions aplenty, chase implications and win, racing really fun, Chicagoland should be back permanently. That was the top voted comment. Star Wars fan 6205 says, never liked Kentucky, but now I'm curious on how the next gen would race there after another amazing mile-and-a-half race.
So I'm on my way to Cubs at Cincinnati Reds on Saturday. Kentucky Speedway's on my way. I might just have to swing by and see what the property is even looking like this weekend.
You'd be probably the only YouTuber there that ever would follow the law based on the ones that have been there since it closed.
I'm just going to see it from the outside.
You can see it from the highway. It's huge. Silvio says, love this track. Andrew says, now we got to add Road America to the July schedule. Depraved COT apologist says he just grunts. And then the gutter comments from Keith, who says, I don't know what race everyone else watched, but this race was forgettable. I'd rather see the street race than a boring mile-and-a-half.
I mean, each their own, but I don't think this is a boring race by any means.
Just I'm watching that and I'm seeing the reaction of everybody else, and All I'm thinking about is
Careful, Icarus.
Well, that like echoed in my ear. That sounded like someone else was in the room with me. That was kind of scary.
Craig Ferguson.
Yeah. Well, that was the poll, the famous iceberg poll. Make sure you're subscribed to the iceberg on YouTube so you see the poll, hopefully in your feed every Sunday, every week after the race, and you can vote on the next one. Let's talk about the O'Reilly race real quick because I know we've gone slightly over time. Am I buffering out a little? You guys both grinned as you lost frames.
I'm laughing at the super chat that just come in.
Okay.
You've been good on my end.
Hopefully I'm not buffering too bad. Thank you, Crest John, for paying the iceberg toll. That I really appreciate that. O'Reilly series race. Brandon Jones gets the best of Chase Elliott on the final overtime restarts. This was a fun one. Chase on restarts was the aggressor most of the night, made a couple of really nice moves to get or retain the lead. But then at the end, it was that number 20 car that just had got his nose out front, got clear of him. Thoughts, Jarrett? What did you see from what could you see? Because I know it was getting foggy where we were. I don't know what you could see. What could you see of that race?
It was a bit foggy in the bowl, but this was the speed he had at Kansas before he had issues there. He was going to win the Kansas race.
Yep.
So I'm not surprised. It seems like this 20 team has been really good at these type of mile and a halves. We always get that patented Brandon Jones win every year. This is the one that we got, but he earned it, and he earned it against Chase Elliott, against his teammate Taylor Gray. I don't think he wins if it goes green. I think that Brandon Jones catches him, but I think up until that really horrible restart that he had at the end there, I really think it was one of those days where I'm like, I can point to everything but the finish as this is why I think this guy can be really good, because he has the speed. He just needs to get kind of the rest at the end locked up.
And he ended up 7th in the final result. Like all the Gibbs cars, I'm looking again, I forgot. They all qualified bad. Like Gray, Jones had to come from the 20s to get back up in the top 10, top 5, and ultimately have a shot at the win. So, like, I'm with you. Taylor Gray ran a great race until that final restart. He got dipsy dude in a big way. 7th. I can't believe he fell all the way to 7th. It was that bad.
So for Brandon Jones, this was actually his 8th career victory. And of those 8 wins, half of them are on 1.5 mile tracks, actually. So this is turning into a kind of a strong suit for him. And he's one of these guys that, like, I don't know if there's, yes, he's with JGR now, and it's kind of where he's been majority of his time in this series. It feels like now, especially where he's found success winning and stuff. I don't know if I see him, if he's a potential option for a Cup Series jump at some point. He's only 29, but it could also be looking at the next Justin Allgaier of this series here too. A guy starting to become really established, very comfortable in the series.
That's where I would go with it. I think solid. I don't see another step, another leap. Personally, we kind of glossed over this in our Cup Series recap. That's our bad. But we really hate to beat this dead horse. Connor Zilic has had just an abysmal season. A lot of bad breaks, not getting many laps, wrecked on lap 1 of the Cup race yet again. He also had issues in the O'Reilly series race. Was it power issues? I forget. He dropped out of the, he was running issues. I think he was leading the race, or maybe he was second. He was up front.
He was leading. He dominated the whole stage.
He dominated stage 1, and then under caution was having power issues. And he was still very fast because we watched him climb from the very back all the way up to like top 5.
10th. Well, he finished 10th because he spun out again and had other issues.
Yeah, at one point he did climb back to the top 10, and he had a terrible pit stop to put him in the back again.
Yeah, it's just a season from hell. I mean, he has, I think, 7 DNFs in Cup. He's not even looked like himself in the O'Reilly series. Even though he runs up front, something happens. And
he has a win or 2 this year. I know he has at least 1. Does he have 2 O'Reilly wins?
He's won a couple in this series, but
you're right. He still hasn't done the same. And sorry, real quick, chat reminder. It wasn't power. That's right. He ran out of fuel at the end of stage 1. They miscalculated the fuel mileage. They came over the radio.
I didn't know because I was just listening to it on my scanner at the race. I didn't know.
I forgot because I switched over to his scanner, and they were like, I think because he opened up a huge lead in stage 1 and was running the top, and I think because of that he literally burned more fuel than
I think I was listening to the MRN broadcast, so I didn't know.
But yeah, it's just been a bad year, man. That's the only way I can really put it.
Yeah. Before we move on, O'Reilly series points. Justin Allgaier still has a huge lead, although he finished sixth, but didn't seem like he was a huge factor the other night. Jesse Love is second. Corey Day is still third. Not a lot of notable changes. I'm impressed with Carson Quapple, bounce between rides, still being seventh. That's good. But the bubbles where things get a little more interesting for the O'Reilly series. That's where you'll find Brent Cruz 44 points above his fellow young JGR teammate William Sawalich. Pretty big gap though. This is the biggest gap I think we've seen this season. Anyone that sticks out to you, fellas?
It's the gap. I mean, we got 4 races to go. This isn't like Cup where we got time. You need to make up points this weekend because you can't just save it all for Daytona. I mean, we're getting to the point where the only way to make it in one race is to get a win and a bunch of help. And I don't think William Sawalich or Raja Karuth consistently have that kind of speed. I think Raja has only 1 top 5 this year. I know he switched around a bit, but he's been in that 88 a lot.
Also, if you're JGR right now, and I'm not trying to knock Sawalich right here, they've got 2 guys barely hanging on to the final 2 chase spots as it is. That you can't get them all 3 in at this point. So why would they suddenly prioritize you when they're just gonna want to prioritize the other 2 at this stage of things?
I feel like at this point, get Brent Cruz up as high as he can. See if he can make a stab at it.
I think he's probably the only JGR car. I guess Brandon Jones, who has a shot at the championship. Big picture.
A lot of 1.5 mile tracks in that run.
Yeah. I mean, you look at he's well within striking distance of 7th, 8th place, so he could get within a good range.
Yeah.
William Sawalich, I don't know. Maybe next year he can, reset, refocus with things with JGR. But it's been lacking expectations this year. Maybe he looks for another team. I don't know.
I mean, he won his first race, but that kind of came out of nowhere. At Rockingham last season was such a struggle.
Almost forgotten about at this point.
Yeah. I mean, that he's just, we know he's got money. He had a great year or so in ARCA, so maybe he's got some talent. He's obviously got some talent, but I don't know.
If you're not doing good in a JGR ARCA car, like go sell some real estate.
Well, he did okay. I thought he won a lot of races his ARCA season. I thought he did win a good handful.
That's my point. Like you should be good. I mean, you're asking, nuclear bomb versus coughing baby.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I not trying to call anyone out here, but it's just kind of like, you were a year and a half into Sawalich and just kind of this. Just kind of
Yeah.
It's time for our first super chat stage break. You guys do not have to pay the iceberg toll, but we do appreciate those of you who support the show.
That was just a happy accident.
Yes, we do appreciate the support. I'm going to read through a few super chats here before we get into the second half of the show. Kick things off, back-to-back super chats from Palm Tree 82. This team had a blue collar day, in quotes, is the new fast as Xfinity internet, and I'm already annoyed by it. At least they're not using the dreaded good points day terminology as much.
They're about to tie up Napa. O'Reilly is.
Oh, that's true. Ooh, how's that going to work? Also good to see SVG Americanizing himself by throwing extra salt at his spuds. Funny. That's good. Yep. He knows how to clash with the big guys. From Hunter Nixon Fishing, headed to Panama City on Saturday. Can't wait to watch the Atlanta race with the family, grilling a low country boil. Have fun, Hunter. That's a good time. Jeffrey King says the Yodas continue. Yeah, they're as strong as ever, it seems. Then we have a few here from Calypso, or a couple. Can't be here tonight. My beloved is using his 1 day on land every 10 years to see me today. Got to make time for him. Have fun. And F PlayStation.
Oh yeah, they got rid of physical discs.
Yeah, they're going.
I did hear about that.
Everything, and then everyone hates EA Sports again because they're ruining college football. 3 years.
You will own nothing and be happy about it.
Damn. Also says better check the weather forecast for Sunday. We will get to that later.
Yeah, we got forecast coming up later.
Bailey Reichert says fun and sad fact: JJ Yaley has led more laps this season than Custer, Ware, and Gregson. That's actually a crazy fact. I'm not even going to fact check it, but I could believe it. You guys hear Noah Gregson? I watched Radioactive this week. He was crashing out over the radio. It sounds like was running 30th most of the day. Rough over there, front row.
That's rough, buddy.
A few more here. Sloth Nerd. Apparently, the key to being in the gutter comments: complain about a driver dominating a race. I regret nothing and will keep hating dominance.
Respect, I guess. Hey, you know what? You owned it. I respect.
Here we go. Matt 8000 says 110 millimeters of rain. I don't use metric. I don't know what millimeters are. I'm just kidding. Sorry.
A lot of
in
rain.
Ottawa,
It's a kilometer.
I'll tell you, in the Ottawa area last week, ruined all of my Canada plans. Makes me feel even more frustrated. I missed last week's show. I'm sorry to hear that, Matt. It's been a rainy spring and summer. I mean, here in Texas, it's been rainy. It was a storm the first 2 days there in Chicagoland. It feels like no matter where
It's raining here right now in Tennessee.
It's raining in Nashville. I mean, it just feels like this has been a really wet season for North America. Brandon says it was once again great to meet you three at the track this weekend. Excited to finally come out of my shell in the chat after being shy these past 8 years. I know you just sent the super chat a little bit ago, but everyone in the chat say hi to Brandon. Great to see him.
We met so many people who watched the podcast this weekend, especially there to tweet up.
That's awesome. That's super cool. We appreciate each and every one of you. That's always like my favorite part of going to races is just getting to see face-to-face fans of this show, other show, just like, I mean, that's all I ever wanted when I started out of the groove and then joined you guys, but I just wanted people to talk racing with. And so it's super fun. But yeah, everyone say hi to Brandon.
And everyone always asks us when we go to races, are you guys doing any kind of like meetup? And I always just say, well, I always attend the tweet up because that's the best place where everyone can kind of start off as one big group, and the next thing you know, there's like little pods that just kind of start drifting away.
And Saturday we got the Wilkesboro trio back together from atop the mountain.
Few final ones here. Evergreen Mountain says Toyota to the rest of NASCAR this year. All of your races belong to us. Every Sunday seems like Toyota-thon. It's always on. Napa Racing Fan says Chase Briscoe and James Small. He told me if I won, I could get some chocolate, so I'm pretty fired up about that. I hope Chase got his chocolate. And then, quoted the big bully, Shane Van Guggenheimer. Classic, iconic. Eric Andrade says somehow Dude Wipes mascot glued on the floor still. Don't know. And let's see. We'll do 3 more, I think. From Fred Dog says Big Bully and Rexavar got bullied and wrecked back. Race of the year, 10 out of 10. Oh, and good to have you back, Eric. Last week wasn't the same without you. Well, I'm glad to be back. I appreciate you saying that.
Michael was good.
Michael was a great co-host. I assume Fred Dog means I only posted like 1 episode on my channel last week, whereas I usually post 6 a week. It was weird not posting videos. So I feel bad. I had a few people talk to me at the track this weekend saying like I messed up their routine by not posting daily. And I'm like, damn, it's a lot of responsibility, but I get it. I appreciate it. And then JC1424 says was awesome meeting Jarrett and Danny B again. Did the driving experience with Kamikaze the day after. Ooh. That's cool. Amazing weekend. A ton of editing to do now.
Yeah, that was cool to meet Kamikaze. I'd never met him before.
Nice. I saw him, I think, at Coda a few years ago.
I think
we were all there.
I think we were there in 21, and it was either we raced him or it was right before we raced the go-karts.
Yeah, that's right. I'll wrap up. Actually, I'll do 2 more. We'll wrap up with these 2. First from Atmos says, do y'all 3 dig on some Linkin Park? I reviewed all their songs and albums for my viewers who are also fans. Now that is a very niche stream right there.
Oh yeah. 2000s for sure. My favorite's not one of the ones I always quote, but it's a Place for My Head, I think is what it's called. It's a really good one. Like you're working out, you need something intense. Like I love that song.
I like Linkin Park. I even listened to some of the new stuff with I don't remember her name, but the new singer they've got that they've kind of come back out with. It's a different feel. I kind of like some of it. So, what was it on one of the Guitar Hero games? They had What I've Done was on there. That's like one of the only songs.
What I've Done and New Divide and Iridescent were all songs that they used in the Transformers movies. They became synonymous for Transformers movies. And then
the Michael Bay meme.
Are they the ones that like the what is it, the America, like feeling like raw kind of meme video. I want to.
Yep.
Yeah, that's that.
All I'm thinking is I am Optimus Prime.
All I know is that one.
What I've Done and New Divide, they are ones that they were so good from those movies. They're on my phone. Sometimes you hear a song. If a song's like really good, I'm like, I want that on my phone.
That What I've Done song is the only song on Guitar Hero I could play 100% perfectly on expert mode. I wasn't very good at Guitar Hero, but I could play that one. Finally, from Look Back GP says, MotoGP fan here, but hooked to NASCAR because of y'all. So thanks. Interesting that the last 2 years Trackhouse has massively improved in MotoGP as they've faded here. Got their first 1-2 ever last time out. Ciao. Well, thank you. Look Back. And I did see that for Trackhouse. So it's good to see them having success, at least in one discipline. I remember last year during kind of his exit, Daniel Suarez insinuated that maybe Trackhouse's resources and intention were diverted and that was hurting their NASCAR program. I feel like they should all operate kind of autonomously, but maybe there's something to that. Maybe as one grows, the other kind of has to fall by. I don't know. We'll see. But that's cool that that you're here, Look Back, and that Trackhouse had some success on two wheels recently. But that's going to do it for our first super chat stage break. We do appreciate the support. If we didn't get to your super chat yet, we will get to it at the end of the show, but we've got a couple more things to get to. Fun segments in a moment, Atlanta preview in a few. But first, it's time for the literal lightning round as Jarrett delivers the lightning round literally during a lightning storm right now where he is at.
So the NWP channel, we collaborate these. So if you miss it, you don't know what channel it's on, subscribe to that one, and within an hour or two, you'll know.
It's got some good content, like the video that was recommended to me today when the wives took over NWP.
That's right. Both Prime and TNT were reported to have interest in broadcasting more NASCAR races. Of course, they won't be able to make a move until 2032 unless something happens. But that was from the Sports Business Journal. So good to know that they appreciate being here as much as we appreciate them with Prime. And then there will be more than likely aerodynamic changes for the August Daytona race. Announcements should be made closer to that. But I think this is probably at least 2 to 3 years too late when it comes to that. I think we needed this for a while. And then next week, July 15th, we will be on my channel again. We switched it up a bit because I had a request when the schedule was announced. I'm like, guys, can I have the episode before Chicagoland, please? So we're back on my channel again next week. And unlike here, that was a quick lightning round.
Yes, but that gives us a little more time to get into some of our headlines. We really just have one. Well, they kind of go together. Maybe call this reckless speculation. The summer's heating up. So is silly season, free agency. And I know like the IndyCar silly season's been going nuts the past couple of weeks. NASCAR, maybe not quite so much, but there's still some interesting pieces. One thing we heard this weekend, Ryan Preece told reporters that he is expected to be back at RFK next year with or without a charter. That we do not know. But it sounds like RFK, we know Buescher's coming back. I think Brad's a safe bet. Preece should be the same trio next season. We talked earlier about colleague racing, the season they're having with AJ Allmendinger, exceeding most expectations. Next year, there's a chance they'll end up representing Dodge on Sundays if Dodge is able to successfully realize their aggressive timeline. And if that's the case, sounds like there's a chance Ty Dillon will not be driving that second car. Ty Dillon, he's still got those connections to RCR, his grandfather's team. Obviously, might want to stick with Chevrolet. So if Ty Dillon ends up out of the 10 car, and if Colleague goes to Dodge, so a couple of big ifs there, who could get that second Colleague car? Who could be in the 10 next season, Jarrett? Do you have an idea? Do you have a theory?
Maybe Justin Haley or Corey LaJoie, two current Ram drivers.
They feel very safe, both of them.
With multiple years of Cup Series experience across both of them. I think that's fair. Who would you pick now if you had to pick one? Because you can only have one. Who would you pick, Haley or LaJoie?
I would want to give Haley the shot again, but I honestly think LaJoie's been in that position before, where he's been in the back, had to help a team aspire, build up a bit. I will say, I think the more interesting question is where Ty Dillon goes, because there's more than likely going to be 2 openings next year with RCR in the O'Reilly series. Carson Brown very much being fast track. I think he's actually testing an O'Reilly car this week with Whelan on it at North Wilkesboro, which makes me also question, are we maybe getting some info for a North Wilkesboro O'Reilly race next year. I would really like that.
Or they let him test there because it's not on the schedule and they know it. I don't know.
Yeah. But that it could be there in the future. Who knows? But I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Ty Dillon in the 21 for a year. Like, there's probably not going to be many openings for him in the Cup Series. So go somewhere you're going to have good equipment, kind of show out and see if you can open yourself up to maybe whenever a Cup ride opens up that would fit better in the future.
And we've seen Ty Dillon do this before. Remember there for a little while. He wasn't really even running much. He actually did a very partial schedule of Joe Gibbs Racing in the Xfinity Series there for a little while.
That's right. I kind of forgot about that brief sabbatical. Yeah, Ty Dillon's always been interesting because obviously he raced for his grandfather in the O'Reilly Series. He drove the 33, but like his Cup Series career, there's always been links to Childress. Like Germain Racing had an alliance, or was I think built was near the same campus. Obviously Colleague now they're right there. They're not far from Richard Childress. Like they've really been like loose ties, but he's always kind of been his own lone wolf, especially when he did what you said, Danny, and went to Toyota for a part-time schedule. So
he's a lot like Kyle Petty to an extent. It's like, yes, there's a big family tie there, but Kyle Petty went and did his own thing for a little bit, drove for Wood Brothers, drove for Sabco there for a little while, but eventually ended up back into the family program. So maybe Ty Dillon, eventually does something rather similar.
Could be. Absolutely could be. Sticking with RCR, because I'm with you, Jared. I think Carson Brown, I think it's been obvious for a few months now that the idea was to maybe get him. I think it was dependent on Jesse Love. I think Jesse Love was destined for a Cup seat unless this year was just a disaster or something fell through. But I think regardless, Jesse Love was always a likely Cup Series candidate. So they knew they were going to have at least one opening. Carson Brown seems to be the guy. So let's assume he gets one of those O'Reilly seats. Will his teammate be Austin Hill, or will Austin Hill get the 33 Cup car full time? That's the latest rumors and reports suggest he is the leading candidate to stay in that 33 next season. Jarrett, I see you nodding your head. I don't know if that's in agreement or if you're just acknowledging that fact. Do you think that would be the right move? Is it right for RCR to keep Austin Hill in the Cup Series full time?
I mean, if we're asking if it's right, I don't think he's a Cup caliber driver personally. Like, yeah, he might have the speed, but you're in a part-time deal in a very, definitely emotionally heightened time after you are the replacement for Kyle Busch. I think he's much closer to a Ty Dillon than I think he is to a Kevin Harvick. I'll put it like that. I don't think that he's going to be a needle mover. I think he's going to get in spats and mid-offs for 20th, and he already pisses people off enough for getting into spats up at the front of the pack in the O'Reilly Series. He hasn't really shown too much of anything so far, and when he did, he ended up playing bowling with Trackhouse at the front of the field in San Diego. I don't think that it would be the right move for that team, but I don't think this team really has too many options at this point for anyone that's going to move the needle. Kyle Busch was that option, and it's unfortunate what happened. Obviously, no one saw that coming, but I think the RCR is a little too loyal to Austin Hill. I'll put it like that. I think that other drivers in his position in that car could probably have done better than him this year.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know about the sponsor situation. Like RCR, absolutely, they're navigating an impossible tragedy, and just the emotions of that alone are difficult to process still. But then the business side, like trying to renew sponsors for next year, like I don't like how difficult are those conversations with Cheddar's, with Zone, trying to sell them on a completely different scenario than they thought they were buying into. Like there's a lot of factors here. So I'm with you. Like they may not have many great options. Sticking with what's somewhat familiar in Austin Hill might be the best option. That very, very fair, very fair. But I kind of am with you. I don't think Austin Hill's really a top Cup Series guy. I think he's a mid-pack guy at best. I think the biggest problem with Austin Hill, I think he's just a little too emotional behind the wheel. I think he has shown time and time again he cannot wrangle his emotions, whether it's the right hook of Almirola last year in the moment, whatever you want to say that Watkins Glen crash was. I mean, just this week, he gets wrecked by SVG. Being upset about that, fair. But to go out on track and door him under caution, he risked a hefty penalty right there. He took a big risk. That was not smart. I mean, he punched Myatt Snyder in the face 4 years ago.
And really, has anything changed? He did attempted murder on Eric Almirola at Indy.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think he's too emotional to be a top tier Cup Series driver. That's my takeaway.
And other guys have been emotional and made it up in recent years, like Noah Gragson, Ty Gibbs, but they have been much more accomplished in similar levels of competitive rides. And, for very different reasons, because there's been a lot of talk about the last couple of weeks after the Bowman comments and whether maybe he retires, and I wanted to kind of bridge this to another topic because I've seen people talk about it too, but I don't think there's that many people in O'Reilly right now who just are Cup ready. I don't. I think that, when we had the conversation last year about Connor Zilic, it was before he went on this amazing run, and revisionist history, everyone's like, oh yeah, he got rushed up, he's sucking now. But everyone at the end of last year was like, yeah, this dude belongs in Cup, right? Yeah. Who really belongs in Cup that's in this series right now? Because with the ones who are excelling are lifers or people who are already going to be up there, like Jesse Love. That's where it's like, I'll bring up the Corey Day conversation. I think he has a ton of talent. The speed just isn't there right now. I think
most people of Corey Day, I think if the decision is that Bowman does something where Day needs to go up into that car, I think most people would agree Day is being rushed in that scenario.
I would think it'd be smarter for Hendrick to try and buy out Connor Zilic's contract, like it was talked about a few months ago. Like I'm seeing that overall this year because it definitely is a weaker field in the O'Reilly series this year, and Austin Hill is a big part of that. We're talking about the big guns in it, and let's see, Jesse Love going to Cup, Corey Day not ready, Sheldon Creed. I don't think any of us are thinking Sheldon Creed is ready to go up. Austin Hill. Conversation, whatever. Now, Brandon Jones, possible lifer, Carson Quapple, Sammy Smith. But who might be the most Cup ready driver at this point with what they're doing in that equipment? Parker Retzlaff. Like, he might be the most Cup ready driver, and Legacy is already like, we like that guy.
He's someone that has definitely proven he needs a better car than what he's in right now. He's one that we mentioned Connor Brown to the too, but he's one I would like to see him get a shot at RCR equipment in that series.
That could be an interesting duo. Yeah, I don't know about the Legacy tie, and that confuses me. That's very confusing.
Well, he's essentially driving the equipment that Colleague was last year.
And the Legacy tie-in, how many times have we seen deals like this where, yes, I think there's a Cup team that's got an eye on you, but they don't necessarily have a good feeder thing for those series. They're kind of more flexible in what you kind of work with in that series. Like, yes, I think with them being a Toyota team, yes, JGR seems like the best place, but JGR is pretty much sold out on what they've got available. So they don't necessarily have more spots for a Parker to come into that program, but maybe they work with someone like an RCR just for a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know how realistic it is, but a Carson Brown, Parker Retzlaff, RCR tandem next year. That'd be interesting. I'd be interested in watching that. Speaking of interesting, I know fans are very interested in this next segment because we get to talk about how wrong we are. We hold ourselves accountable each week in our weekly accountability / prediction segment. Every week we make 2 NASCAR, motorsports, or show-related predictions. We keep track, hold ourselves accountable, and we try to keep our predictions concise and contained. Let's see if anything's off the board this week. All right, Jarrett, 1-for-1 said the margin of victory for the Chicagoland Cup race will be less than 1 second.
That's very true. They were about darn near on top of each other.
Tantalizingly close for Christopher Bell. Next. Oh, rough week here. I said Denny Hamlin will lead the most laps. What was he, second or third? Close? That was close. And I said TNT would show the Tropicana Orange incident at some point during the Sunday broadcast. I should have just specified weekend broadcast because they did show it, I think, during one of the practice or qualifying sessions. It might even been the O'Reilly series broadcast showed it, but the Cup Series TNT broadcast did not. Missed that one. All right, Danny's up next. Says SVG would sweep Sonoma. He did. Won both races. Good call there.
Wait, this is last week.
Oh, this is last week. These are both Sonoma. We didn't update the graphic, and I wasn't here, so I didn't even catch it.
I don't know what happened, but it literally deleted the graphic out because I put it in. It deleted
no.
the graphic and what reverted to the old one.
Okay, so correction. I'm actually green all this week because I said that Alex Bowman would get a top 5 at Chicagoland, and I also said that rain would impact the race weekend, but the Cup race would be fine.
Wow, good calls. Good calls there. So I don't know if these next numbers are 100% right. They're very close.
Accurate. They're accurate.
Right.
I don't know. It updated right before I sent you guys the link, and I think it just deleted the other one.
That's okay. That's all right. Jarrett's leading the way this season in the percentages, but all time, I think he's leading as well, but the margins are a little closer all time. Yeah, they are. They're a lot closer. I'm in second. Danny's in third. Time to add to this list, gentlemen. Time to add to our predictions. Jarrett, start us off. Give us your first big prediction.
Both Atlanta races this weekend will finish under green.
Okay.
So O'Reilly and Cup.
I agree with that.
Didn't O'Reilly in the spring not, though?
Well, I'm just saying I agree with that because I think NASCAR is going to they're going to try to hold the caution.
It's definitely, not a guarantee.
It's not a guarantee, but I think NASCAR is making an effort this year to swallow the whistle on the last lap. So I think that's likely. I'd give you that one. My prediction is a little more abstract. We'll have to pay close attention Sunday. As they cross the line, taking the white flag, last lap at Atlanta Cup race, there will be at least one Spire car in the top 3. First, second, or third when they take the white.
One Spire in the top 3.
I think every plate race this year has had that. Daytona, Atlanta. In Daytona, it was Spire 1-2 when they took the white. So anyway, Danny, what about you?
Austin Hill will lead laps in both the NASCAR O'Reilly Series and Cup Series races this weekend at Echo Park Speedway.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
All right. Well, I'll stick with the RCR prediction here. RCR will lead less than half of the laps in the O'Reilly race. I don't know. I just feel like their dominance is slipping little by little.
I also agree with that one. I don't think that's too far-fetched.
You not can both be right for with that one.
Yeah.
Let's stick with the RCR theme here. I think Austin Hill, the fans love to pile on Austin Hill. Like, I feel kind of bad. Like, he got wrecked this weekend, and I feel like people are still dunking on him. And it's like, he got wrecked. Like, the stuff under caution was silly. I get the history. He deserved something. I get all that. But I feel kind of bad. I just feel like fans don't really like Austin Hill. I think he's going to win some fans over, just some. He's going to do something charming this weekend. He's either going to grunt or make a grunting reference during one of his TV interviews this weekend. He's going to lean into it.
That'll be on Twitter immediately.
Yes, that's what I'm guessing. So that's why hopefully we won't have to sit there and study every single lap of practice.
Going up against the 26 seed, 32 seed, Alex Bowman will make the final 4 of the in-season challenge after this weekend.
That's a good one. I didn't think about making an in-season challenge prediction. That would have been fun. I should have done that.
This is actually, this weekend is probably the most even every bracket is probably ever going to be in this. You've got Alex Bowman versus Todd Gilliland. You've got Chase Briscoe versus Chase Elliott. You've got Denny Hamlin versus Christopher Bell. And you've got William Byron versus Ryan Blaney. Every single one of those brackets, those drivers seem about equal with each other.
A lot of toss-ups there, especially with it being a super speedway. So good stuff. I wish I'd made a tournament prediction now, but that's okay.
I don't know if I'm willing to put Bowman in the championship 2, but I do like him for the championship 4.
Just saying, we used to do 3 predictions. We could always do that again.
Jared, I have such a hard time coming up with 2 good ones every week.
It was going to be too much.
You guys wait till later in the process. Like, I have backup predictions ready to go, so I never run into this problem.
I literally write these bad boys an hour before the show.
I do them Sunday. I do these Sunday night, like in that gap between when I finish my stream and when they finish inspection. Like, that's mine.
To be fair, this week I had actually been thinking about all of these for all this week, so that was actually ahead of schedule.
I'm living one day at a time, man. I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow at this point.
Spam 3s in the chat.
All right. Well, now it's time for our other fun segment. It's time now for Danny and I to be quizzed on Random Driver of the Week.
Bye, chat.
Oh, I forgot
hide the chat.
I forgot that I can comment as whoever's channel is hosting. So Eric, you're spamming 3 in the chat now.
Oh
thought it
my
was me.
goodness.
I thought it was me for a second. I'm like, damn.
Imposter. All right.
All right.
Chat,
Yeah.
feel free to play along at home. See if Jared can.
Jared's
help us.
hacking Eric's account as we speak.
No googling the answer. Chat, come on. Let's be fair. Let's just
Don't pull a Ryan Priest.
Nah, yeah.
Why he lost still?
He's still lost. Come on, Breeze.
That's funny.
Yes. So Danny's leading 45-42 over Eric. He has 3 of the last 5 with Kevin Harvick, James Busher, and Austin Condrick. And then Eric had Red Byron and Matt Kenseth. So, well, what were we laughing? The Matt Kenseth part or the Condrick part? I'm just the chat's got me on that one. It's everywhere I go. I got people like being like, "Hey, how do you think Condrick's going to do this weekend?" When they would come up to me in the infield, and I'm just like, "Pretty good, I guess." He'll get stage points in both stages.
I still think that Eric pretty much gave me one because I think you would have beaten me last week. I think you would have gotten some of the Harvick stuff, especially the one about Jarrett mentioned that you called him a diva.
Yeah. I went back through your Twitter stuff on it, and I'm just like, you called him a diva multiple times. So like, I have to make a point of it. And I'm like, God, I wish Eric was here because his face would get all red with me bringing it up.
That's funny that that was a hard read on Kevin Harvick that I think has aged very well. I feel like, I don't know.
This random driver this week, though, hails from West Palm Beach, Florida.
Ooh. Okay.
Little beach boy.
Ain't Palm Beach Pete, that's for sure. This random driver has been outspoken about their faith.
Okay.
I really need to learn this person for my work purposes.
This random driver is a Carolina Panthers fan.
A lot of random drivers are. You'd be probably fine. Certainly not a Dolphins fan. I don't know. Like, what?
This random driver was sponsored by a company owned by Mark Wahlberg.
Mark Wahlberg
sponsored this random driver, yes.
A Mark Wahlberg reference on the NASCAR Weekly podcast? I have no idea who this could be.
What? No. Anyone seen the happening? This random driver drove in Chevys, Fords, Toyotas, and Dodges.
It's pretty modern. Okay.
Just throw it out there. Is it Michael McDowell?
Michael McDowell.
Okay.
No.
He's from Arizona, I think.
I really couldn't remember where he's from, so I was like, let's just throw it out there while we got a chance.
Somewhere really random. Okay.
This random driver's career high in Cup was 30th in 6 starts.
Okay. All right.
This
30th?
random driver.
Wait. 30th and 6 starts. Is that in general? Is that Cup? What are you saying?
I said in Cup. Like career high finish
Well,
in Cup.
he drove like every single manufacturer you just listed.
Danny, I think you forget how these clues get listed out, buddy. I was going to say this random driver's career high in O'Reilly was 6th in 213 starts.
Oh.
Yeah, there you go.
I love when you guys jump the gun. That's the best part for me.
Mm-hmm.
This random driver's first career Cup start was with Levine Family Racing.
His first career Cup start was with them?
That's how long ago are we talking? I mean, who's so
Yeah, I don't know how long. I can't remember how long they actually were around.
Before Bell, Casey Kane for 1 year.
This random driver's career high in O'Reilly Series points was 11th.
I'm going to throw out the name Brian Scott. I don't know.
Brian Scott.
Okay.
I knew that. I got him a few weeks ago.
Oh, what? Wait, he's been recently?
I got the list on the bottom for you, buddy.
Was he really? Brian Scott was the random driver recently?
Yeah,
it's been a bit, but I got him this year.
Oh, man. I don't even remember that. Jeez.
To be fair, I don't either. That's why I make the list. And even then, I still screwed up. This random driver's career high finish in the truck series was a 19th place finish in 10 starts. This one might be one to tip you guys off because it's more modern. This random driver works as a driver coach for Brandon Jones. By the way, I planned this driver back in February, so I had no idea it'd be right after a Brandon Jones win. It just worked out that way.
Well, I checked out after the Brian Scott crew. Hold on. Wait, is it that guy? He hasn't made that many starts, I don't think. I'm going to throw out the name Drew Herring.
Drew Herring.
Oh,
no.
There's a shot on that one.
That's one of the more competitive ones we've had in a while.
I'm down to one guess. This isn't good.
This random driver was featured in Forbes magazine for his post-racing career business ventures. This random driver, I'll give you guys the numbers for you, like what numbers this random driver was in.
Find my pen.
We got the pen ready?
Yeah.
All right. 07, 05, 00, 0, 6, 8, 10, 11, 15, 21, 23, 24, 28, 32, 36, 41, 42, 44, 52, 57, 70, 75, 81, 82, 86, 91, 95, and 99.
Okay. Basically every number ever.
This random driver's last 2 seasons in O'Reilly were run for colleague.
I know who this is, but I don't remember his name. What is this
Wait, say that last clue one more time.
Last 2 O'Reilly seasons this random driver ran were for colleague. This might give it away. This random driver actually did a partnered event on NASCAR Heat 4 with myself.
Shoot, I don't remember that.
It was during COVID. We did a partnered event.
Oh, man.
All right. This random driver co-owns Jerky Boys with Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Oh, I don't even know. Who is that? It's not Brian Scott. No, he owns Leaf Filter or something, or one of those other companies. Or no, what's that?
No, this random driver co-owns Filter Time.
Oh, that's
because we had the Filter Time batch.
Wait, I'm confused. I'm lost.
This random driver co-owns Jerky Boys Jerky and Filter Time with Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Who am I getting this mixed up with? Why this?
I know you guys know who it is. You just forgot the name.
Yeah, wait.
He stopped racing forever ago.
It's known for the 11 at colleague.
Yeah, it's he was in my he sent me a message a while back. I forget why. It was Blake Koch. I don't know why I kept getting him.
That's it.
I kept getting him and Brian Scott for some reason mixed up in my head. I don't know why that was.
You made the same mistake I did. I kept thinking he owned Leaf Filter, and it's Filter Time. I get them mixed up. Leaf Filter, Matt Colleague.
Yeah, I don't know why. I had all sorts of. It's been a long couple weeks. That was rough. Good job.
Gosh, I literally was like, I see his face, but I don't remember what your name is.
Yeah, I literally was the same thing.
We did the Filter Time bash. Me and Joey Stone did a partnership with him for that at the start of COVID. It was like the precursor to the e-ticket era that John would later do because he helped out with the second one.
Like I'm literally picturing the whole time the Filter Time iRacing car that they made into a diecast for Dale Jr.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think that he was going to be one of the best ones of the year, but that was because I 18 clues. We went through all 18 of them.
Dale Jr. has so many relationships and business ventures. I had my head spinning there. I was like,
by the way, people are finding out that you called him Blake Koch when it's Blake Cook.
Is it pronounced Cook? Cook? No, I always pronounced it Coke. Whoops. Well, should have run up front more, and I would have said his name more on the broadcast, and it would have been ingrained in my memory. Blake Cook? Yeah, I guess it's Blake Cook. Cook. Close enough.
Call him Blake Coach. I don't know.
Yeah, driver coach.
Well, he is a driver coach now, apparently, according to the random driver clues.
Well, that was fun.
Well, you got one back on me this week.
I'll take it. I'll take it any way I can get it, even on a technicality, practically, because you came up with it as quicker than I did.
All right.
My bad. I'm hosting. My bad. I was waiting for Jared.
I'm like, what are we doing? We stalled it.
I thought I was waiting for Jarrett. He'd kind of taken over the segment. I was like, all right, he's going to transition us to the next bit, but he's not. That's my cue.
Gosh,
my cue right there.
I hate that I got that one wrong because I definitely knew exactly who it was. I just could not remember his name. he stopped racing how many years ago? It's been a while.
God.
I can picture him in a college car, even though I know it was like the very end of his career. It's like the last memory we have of him racing.
Because as soon as I saw 8 and then 11, that confirmed me. Okay, yeah, this is the college original guy. I just cannot remember who he is.
No, he had
Atlanta Echo Park Speedway. Also Lime Rock for trucks. That's this weekend, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Good for them.
Echo Rock and Lime Park.
Two very different track types, styles of racing. Some weekend notes. We've got Chad Fincham in the 66 Cup car. Also, BJ McLeod's back. He'll be in the 78 Cup Series car.
Hope it's dialed in.
On the O'Reilly side, Carson Quapple's in the 1. Jake Finch is in the 9. Is this his first time being in a junior motorsports car?
Definitely this year. Probably.
I don't know. Raja's back in the 88. Then on trucks, we've got Annunziata in the number 1. Graham Doyle in the 5. Connor Mozak in the 7, Colin Brown in the 25 for Ram, and Kligerman in the 77 for Spire.
Not noted, but that Thomas Annunziata, he's running a Kyle Busch M&M throwback in the ARCA race too.
Yeah, and I found out today, I didn't realize he was a model. He has signed with a modeling agency. I saw it when I was perusing Reddit.
Well, there's a note for random driver futures.
I'm gonna have to wait a while because I brought that one up on air.
Jake Finch ran a race in the 17 last year. See, I don't even remember that. I don't remember that. Okay. Some race information here. Truck races, the Liuna 150, 100-lap race, 30, 30, 40 are the stage breakdowns. It's a 1 p.m. Eastern start, I believe, Saturday on FS1, Fox 1, NRN, Sirius XM. Corey Heim is the defending winner. He is not. I do not believe he is in the field for this race, although I should double check the entry list. The O'Reilly race Saturday night is the Focused Health 250 at Atlanta, 163 laps, 45, 45, 73 are the stage lengths, 7 p.m. Eastern start on the CW. PRN, Sirius XM have your radio calls. Nick Sanchez is the defending winner of that race. And the Cup race, the Quaker State 400 is Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern on TNT. It's a 260-lap race, 60, 100, 100 are the stage breakdowns. It's on TNT, like I said, PRN, Sirius. Chase Elliott won this race 1 year ago. Danny.
He owes his teammate Alex Bowman something for that one last year.
We'll see if he pays that forward this weekend. Danny, our friend Jeff, does he have the latest weather forecast?
Yes,
Ooh, that's a lot of cloud.
Looking at that graphic, brace yourselves, guys. We got us a long paragraph from meteorologist Jeff Bork of Forecast this week. Unfortunately, rain chances are in play for much of the race weekend at Echo Park Speedway. An active pattern on the eastern edge of a developing summertime ridge of high pressure will lead to some enhancement to daily thunderstorms we found in the south. Thus, as you saw earlier, me and Jarrett experiencing one ourselves here in the Nashville, Tennessee area. What helps our case is the high banking and the more porous pavement design that helps drain the surface and assist track drying. That's very true. Atlanta considered that when they were redoing the surface here. Pulses of energy in the mid-levels will move northwest to southeast, adding some lift to the picture. This brings isolated thunderstorms at times Friday, with highest chances during peak daytime heating in the afternoon, continuing through early evening. Rain chances tick up for Saturday, so expect a lengthy holding pattern at times for on-track activity with scattered thunderstorms during much of the afternoon. Rain winds down by the evening, so O'Reilly will likely get in with some delays to the start time possible. Sunday has more ingredients to bring a stormier day at times. A disturbance in the mid-levels slides into North Georgia, which adds a lot of help to the typical southern storms. Expect storms to fire up during the afternoon and linger around the speedway. However, don't expect all-day rain, as the atmosphere will get worked and storms will develop and move around instead of just sitting overhead. Rain chances do linger somewhat overnight, so we may be in store for a rain chance. Details become more clear as we get closer to Sunday. And unfortunately, Monday is similar to Sunday, so the waiting game could likely be the better option instead of postponing early. Jeff mentioned that he'll be updating on X and will be at both races this weekend. So stay tuned to Jeff Vorick. You can check him out on Twitter at VorcastWX on Twitter. So give him a follow on there. He's a good guy, and support him and what he's doing to help us with a weekly forecast for you guys.
Good
Yeah,
stuff.
he kicks ass with it. It's really good.
Very thorough. And we need it with all these summer storms blowing through the area week to week.
He didn't provide anything for Lime Rock, but basically it's a road course. We don't got to worry about nothing.
Yeah, only heavy rains and lightning will delay us. But that's a great segue, because it's time now, gentlemen, to make our race picks for the weekend. I'll be picking first because I'm in the basement, sadly, after Tyler Reddick blew up or had the debris go through the radiator. Chat, you're winning. You're leading the points, so you will pick fourth. That cleanup here tonight. Jarrett and Danny are right there in the middle. Yeah, I need a big one, and the super speedway is not the week to have the first pick. Fortunately, I do get a road course for the trucks. I get the first truck pick. My pick is Lane Van Rigsbergen to win once again.
Yeah.
That was my number one, so I'll take my number two, Mr. Caden Honeycutt, a.k.a. the attempted second coming of Corey Heim.
I'll go Connor Mosek. Ran pretty fast. Spires.
Good pick.
Decent.
Thought about that.
So, yeah. And now we leave the chat with the scraps.
And it looks, well, this is decent scraps. They're picking up what Parker Kligerman is putting down, it appears. A lot of 77s coming in hot. He's in a really good car. He's a good road racer. We know that's not a bad pick. It's not a bad pick at all, especially for the fourth pick. Some good value there if you care about value. So let's talk about the O'Reilly race. Who is going to win the O'Reilly Series race at Atlanta Motor Speedway? I do agree. I think you said this earlier, Jarrett. I do agree that I don't think RCR has quite the upper hand on the drafting tracks that they did for a couple of years there. That being said, with the first pick, I got to take Austin Hill here. I got to go with the big bully. He was out front in the spring race before he and Ross got together and handed the win to Sheldon Creed. So still some good options. Who do you have this week, Danny?
I'll go Jesse Love.
Yeah, that's a good pick. So I will go Creed. I will go 00 on this baby. He's pretty good even outside of earlier this year here.
Chat, let's give you all a few seconds to catch up, and then come to a consensus.
The 87 got a vote, actually.
It's fitting.
Is that Peterson? Who's in that this week? Sanchez. Oh, it's Nick Sanchez.
Right. Okay. I forgot about that. There's a couple of 87s coming in there.
It's pretty fitting. I picked at least a 7 for one of these races. I showed you guys before. I got this die cast in the mail this week,
sweet.
and I used the orange marker to make it the Underbird. So that's a lot of 87s, man.
I think you got a poll 7 and 87.
I would never have guessed, but I guess so. All right. Okay. Give me 1 second to type all this up. And there's like a 5-second delay. So
I think once we present it in poll format, we'll probably see them go up to 7, but let's just still poll them.
let's not make any assumptions here. The chat can think for themselves. Maybe they'll surprise us. Or maybe Danny's trying to gaslight into getting his way.
He's pretty good at that.
The funny thing is, like, I don't know if you guys, I always put a vote in just because technically I'm part of the chat too. I can pick whatever I want.
Wow, trying to rig the results.
I'll
give him a couple more seconds.
I've got an active chat. I can choose these things.
Danny, election integrity is very important and is a hot button issue right now.
You are stuffing the ballot box with your nonsense here, Danny. This is
I'm putting in only one vote. Like even politicians put in a vote.
Man, one vote. And then they have like a 130-year-old dead person vote for him.
Justin Allgaier, 63% of the vote is the chat's pick. So they ultimately went with the
kind of what I thought they'd play more safe there.
But now it's time to talk about the Cup race. Sunday's Cup race at Echo Park Speedway. Who's going to suck this weekend at Atlanta? I'm going to go out there and say it. I'm going to say Joey Logano. It's not been in his year. He's going to run up front. We know that. He's going to lead laps, but the Penske cars never finish, or rarely, I should say. They sometimes do, but they don't finish these races at the rate you expect them to. So I'll go Logano for my suck pick. How about you, Danny?
Me and the chat are on the same wavelength for Noah Gragson.
Yeah, that's solid.
All right. I mentioned this guy struggling at these tracks earlier, Denny Hamlin.
Yep. All fair picks, I think. I would say. Yeah, Michael Brown, I agree. Logano's going to lead the most laps and then wreck. Yeah, that's what happens quite a bit.
If Hamlin does suck, though, Reddick needs to be on his A game because this is his chance to gain some ground.
Oh, yeah.
Dark horse picks. I guess I'll start things off. I really hadn't given this too much thought. You used to say Daniel Suarez every time we came here, and I guess I will still say Suarez, even though he's been like top 10 in points. He's not really a huge underdog, but I think if he won, everyone would be a little surprised. But the Spire cars have been good on the drafting track, so I'll take Suarez.
He's been improving a little bit as of late. His team has done good here. Bubba arguably probably should have won this one. He made a bad decision, and his teammate ended up winning it. So I'm going to go Riley Herbst as the underdog in this one.
Nice.
I'm going to go with the guy who's leading with 10 to go here and has been pretty good in recent years. Hasn't got the win yet, but Ford is always strong. Zane Smith. Watch out. He's a sneaky win pick.
Zane Smith. All right. Chat, I think, was they're kind of all over. They're a little all over the map. They might be going Todd Gilliland. I see some 34s. I see some 43s.
Give him to Todd, father.
Yeah, give him Todd Gilliland. It's not. This one's not for points. Just let Todd get a shout out here on the show. Now it's time for the real deal. Who's going to win the Cup Series race at Atlanta Echo Park Speedway? Gentlemen, I said earlier, this is not the week to have the number one pick because, I mean, there's certainly some better picks than others, safer picks perhaps, but we saw last year, 20-car pile, nobody's really safe at Atlanta Super Speedway. That being said, one driver the past 2 years here has separated himself in many regards. He's been this close to winning. He's almost a surefire top 5 the way he's performed. I'm going to take with the number 1 overall pick. Draft sound.
Dun, 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 dun.
Can you tell I'm tone deaf? That Carson Hocevar, my pick to win Atlanta.
He's on my big board.
Yeah, I like it. If I needed more people, he would have been on mine as well. But I'm gonna go with who I have as my number 1 pick, who I've been thinking of all along. Guys, are we ready for the emotional roller coaster of Austin Hill sweeping this weekend?
He's doing it.
Sweeping the weekend. My goodness.
Austin Hill is my Cup Series pick.
Danny, that's ballsy. I'll give you that, man. That's ballsy.
Considering that I'll just say my second choice was Christopher Bell, I'm being very bold of just going ahead and taking my gut.
Well, you and me are on the same wavelength about sweeps, but I think it's going to be season sweeps. Tyler Reddick, I'm taking my number 1 pick off the board here. I'm going to go Reddick. I think he gets everything back on track, and win number 6 comes in hot Atlanta, whether it be rain out or to the finish.
Wow. What an interesting collection of win picks.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah. Jack, can you add to it? Can you do something crazy? Can you just throw out?
They're playing it safe and picking Chase Elliott.
Oh man, where's the fun in that?
It's pretty overwhelmingly Chase Elliott. There's been some other ones, the 20 to 48, but the 9 is consistent.
Pick Alex Bowman at least. That'll spice things up a little bit. That'll keep things a little interesting. All right, but
I didn't even pick Alex Bowman. They're not going to pick him.
I think they're going Elliott. It's definitely evened out a little, but I think they're going Chase. I think they're going Chase Elliott.
Yeah,
all right.
He's won this summer Atlanta race a couple times now here recently, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think he won it in 22 as well, if I'm not mistaken. I think that was the second race that year.
That was one where he was racing LaJoy.
Yes. Good stuff. Well, that was our Atlanta picks. Made the best pick win on Saturday and Sunday. I guess we picked the whole weekend. Appreciate you all playing along there in the chat.
We have Chase Elliott. We have Carson Hocevar for Eric. We have Austin Hill for me. And then I'm blanking on who Jarrett had.
Reddick.
Reddick. Okay.
Yeah, it's an interesting group right there. Before we get into our final super chat stage break, put that graphic back up on screen, Jared, if you could. Next week's show, Wednesday, July 15th, will be live 8 p.m. Eastern time on the Iceberg. So make sure you're subscribed so you get the notification and can join us 7 days from now. We'll do it all over again, but with hopefully a little extra spice post Atlanta. Thanks for tuning in tonight, folks. Time for our super chat cool down lap presented by you. We left off here with the Ace Steeler. Chevy CEO wants an elite Chevy Cup driver at Supercars Adelaide Grand Finale 2026. Hosts of our Elliott Larson and Zilich are the favorites. Take the seat.
Favorites to take the seat.
To take the seat. I guess let's ask a question. Of those four, who would you like to see do it? If you could pick one. If you could only pick
Shane
one.
Van Gisbergen.
Well, he wasn't listed, so I mean,
Of that list, I'll take Hocevar.
we already know what Shane can do in one of those cars. I think we want to see something new.
I want to see Larson over there. I mean, he's our kind of racing any series guy at this point.
Good point.
Would that be in Australia? Is that where it would be? If they go there, like Larson would appreciate going there because they have a big dirt track scene there too, so he could hop into some sprint cars while he's out there.
That's a good point. I think he's raced out there a bunch before, so he's probably already got a little bit of a fan base. So I think Larson probably does make the most sense. Where we at? From BT 4000, took my grandpa to his first race and saw my favorite driver win in person. Thanks, Iceberg, for convincing me to make the trek from South Louisiana. What a journey.
Glad to help him. Making memories. That's what my grandpa always says.
That's great. That's really exciting. Let me get back to my place in line. Here we are from Ryan Idius says, he just grunts, imagining Hollywood caveman sound.
Ooga booga.
Brutal. Some Shadows of Man says Priest got penalized because of nepogism. That's a hard word to say. Very creative. Nicholas Blair says, with so few vets from the chase era left, I think they'll race more recklessly. Seriously, only a few young guns have the finesse got with the new format. It is an interesting perspective that, I mean, I don't know. I guess we'll see once the chase really starts because, I don't know. We've seen some young guys have success this year. I mean, Ty Gibbs having his best year yet. Hocevar has been in the mix. But we'll see when they get into those final 10, does anyone sort of flame out unexpectedly? Will be interesting to follow. APC says, can't wait to see Elliott race trucks next week. Yes, he's running North Wilkesboro, if I'm not mistaken. I think I saw that announcement today while I was at the airport. That VW dad says, I'm just saying, NASCAR at night running down Broadway Street in Nashville under the neon lights, I'll add, would be very, very nice.
Yeah, originally before, things happened with moving IndyCar to the Nashville Super Speedway, they actually redesigned the Music City Grand Prix course. A lot of people have already forgotten about this. The redesign actually would have featured racing on Broadway, but ultimately they had to abandon the idea altogether because they wouldn't have enough time to plan logistics because they moved the race to September, which would clash with Tennessee Titans' schedule, and they didn't know what weekends would even be Titans home games, so they couldn't start planning the logistics, so they had to move it.
The real reason is they just didn't want to piss off the drunk sorority girls.
I will never watch IndyCar again. I had no clue that this was even happening.
Just remember, that's where Hawk Tua started.
Wow. Sacred ground.
Get drunk on Broadway and anything can happen.
Wolf that turns left says, I saw my favorite driver win in person and he signed my hat. Top one day of all time. That's incredible.
Nice.
Glad you had a blast. Justin Drake says, Eric, misspelled my name, that's okay, complaining about getting an hour away from the sound of saxophones and gunfire like it's a bad thing. Come on now, we're better than this.
Chicagoland over. So this is an Illinois thing. Chirac, Rockanistan, Belvitucky. We got them all. Arkansas.
The saxophones getting louder meme is becoming one of my favorites on the internet at the moment.
That's fair. Nick Foley says they should collab with IndyCar and IMSA for the Detroit GP. I don't know how logistically that would handle, but maybe. Then Crest John paid his iceberg toll, doing his due diligence. Law Pug says JGR and KFB lifer, also a trial lawyer, so I've appreciated all the NASCAR updates, and y'all do it better than most. That actually means something from an actual lawyer. So hashtag all in on the 2026 Hamlin Revenge Tour. Sweet. Thanks for the comment. Indy Carson says, hey, NWP, Chicagoland. O'Reilly. Brandon Jones showed why he still belongs in NASCAR. I don't think anyone was trying to kick him out, but yeah. Wasn't expecting Zillbilly to have so many problems. And why are we racing on July 4th night?
Well, regardless, we were going to be having to because of rain. So
yeah, we were originally going to just race the afternoon, but
yeah,
it is what it is.
Jeffrey King says Toyota 95, Chevy 89, Ford 81, my ratings. Are these like Madden ratings?
I think that's kind of what they're going for. I think this is fair. I'd probably boost Ford up slightly to 83, but that's pretty good.
Hey, look at that. He even paid a microtransaction to tell us. Just like Madden.
Oh my
Damn.
God.
Jeffrey King adds, Chicagoland better not end up like Auto Club. I think it's safe for now from that fate, but we'll see.
Anything is safe, including Kentucky Speedway, until I see literally the track being demolished like Auto Club.
Well, that is how demolition works. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. But yeah, Indy Carson also adds Cup. Congrats to Briscoe winning on James Small's birthday. Why was Zillbilly bad in this race too? Well, he got wrecked on lap 1. It wasn't really his fault. I mean, then glad SVG, Hill, Hocevar, and Zane weren't penalized for drama. What is wrong with Reddick and Larson? Well, Larson just gets loose sometimes. That's
the Monstars stole his talent. That's what happened to Larson. The Monstars stole his talent.
Yeah, Reddick forgot to take Michael's secret stuff.
I gotta check.
By the way, I don't think Michael was at the track at all this weekend, which surprised me.
I mean, he probably would get completely mauled out there, but good God, the amount of so since basically Prime has come on the scene, Connor Zilic ran 52 of 373 at Charlotte, 71 of 300 at Nashville, 8 of 200 at Michigan. He finished all the laps at Pocono, hang the banner, 31 of 75 at San Diego, all the laps at Sonoma, top 10. They were up, and then 0 of 267 at Chicagoland.
Gosh, 0 is crazy. The Travis Miller says, hot take, I want SVG in the 48 next year. Thoughts?
Not hot take. That is a great beard.
Oh yeah, looking good, looking suave. But that's not going to happen.
No, Hendrick's never going to invest in just a road course ringer.
Because they're bringing the 88 back to Hendrick, baby. That's what SVG is going to be in. I'm kidding. No, that's probably not going to happen. But I would like to see it. I think he wouldn't have to carry the organization the way he is this year.
Well, that is true. I just like that. I like that he's in the 97, though. I think that's fitting.
Yeah.
I do enjoy seeing that. JC1424 again says Parker Retzoff has earned a 5-star O'Reilly ride. I think it'd be cool if he got that opportunity full time. That'd be a great deal. And then we got a few here from Indy Carson. We'll run through these. Hey, how was all your guys' time at Chicagoland? Danny, how was the media job? Great job on your event video. Iceberg, thanks for keeping us informed. Eric, Twitter profile says you had fun. I did tweet that I had fun. Yes, that is true. Yeah, how'd you guys? We talked about it earlier, but how you guys had a good time? Had good?
I was just at peace.
Yeah,
like the whole weekend.
Had a good time with Claudia by my side, doing our media thing, producing some great content for a vlog, which just dropped today. Also got a couple of quotes for the full-time job, CBN. We got an account called CBN Sports, and we actually ended up posting a reel to Facebook and Instagram of question that I asked Chase Briscoe at the end of post-race media availability, and that was doing pretty well. Looks like it's grown to about almost 40,000 views on Facebook Reels.
Facebook Reels, heck yeah, good deal.
Yeah, I was just at peace. I was just happy to be there.
Indy Carson then says I had a fantastic time at Mid-Ohio for IndyCar. Witnessed my first ever caution-free race. Took photos with drivers and David Land. That's pretty cool. Is that who that is in his photo right here? Hell yeah. Mid-Ohio trip also included the NFL Hall of Fame. Sorry, Eric, only one Texan in the hall, while Danny and Iceberg have over 15 players or more. Well, for Tennessee and Minnesota, I don't know if I'd say for Tennessee.
So the Titans is going back to our Oilers history. To be fair to Texans,
also Houston.
We
share Warren Moon here
since like 2002. So
we share Warren Moon here. Yeah.
We've got Andre Johnson. When's JJ Watt going in? When is he eligible? Because he'll be in. He'll be our second
one day.
Is he already?
Vikings have a lot, and they have a lot of them that should be Hall of Fame. Like, I can't believe it took so long to get Chris Carter in. You know, like I think I'm pretty sure we have the most Hall of Famers in the Super Bowl era of a team that hasn't won a Super Bowl. We're first at losing, baby. Woohoo!
Jarrett, yeah, the next question is for you, Jarrett. If you had to decide to go to one track only once during the year and pretend all the tracks were still here, which of the following would you choose? Rockford, Michigan, Chicagoland, or Kansas? That's tough, especially Rockford and Chicagoland for you, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, I drove by Rockford, so I mean that's sentimental. I'm looking at the two chunks of the Rockford Speedway I own, but I'll say Chicagoland just because it's very sentimental to me. But all three of my home tracks are either under attack, been destroyed, or went long amounts of time without racing when it comes to Rockford, Chicagoland, and the Nashville Fairgrounds. So at this point, I'm just appreciating any of the racetrack. These four all sentimental to me too. I'm appreciating all of them at this point. Well, at least the ones that are left.
Can I bring up some breaking reckless speculation if that's even a thing?
Sure. What we got?
Why not?
I was just scrolling Twitter here, and Aaron Bearden, if you guys are familiar with him, he posted at 8:25 a little bit ago. Am I crazy, or did all the posts tied to Nitro Motorsports Kyle Busch tribute just disappear? Wondering if we have a cease and desist situation here, which when I saw that car, I immediately thought there is no way Mars is going to allow this to happen.
I had the exact same thought. Unfortunately,
I worried about it too, but it's just like
someone said it's still
circles.
on Instagram story of Nitro, but someone also said Thomas deleted his Instagram post, but no clue on why.
But like, weren't most of them just colorful circles?
Yeah,
like you don't
so
own
iconic,
a circle.
Maybe the colors.
I don't know.
I think you can trademark certain colors. I'm pretty sure.
That's one of the things
Yeah.
I'm like, I hate to say it, but with that, you should have kept it a secret and just showed up to the track with it.
And then they probably would have had a matte black car on race day. I hope not. I hope it's just a mix up or something, because that would really suck if it can't be run. I mean, I think all fans want to see that.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I don't know. It's just tough. I had the same thought though, Daniel. I saw it, I thought this is cool. And then I was like, why have we not seen a good M&M's car yet? And I'm like,
yeah, I don't.
It's probably because it's M&M's.
Twitter. I think they've had to undo the car.
That's a
Man,
shame.
that's
I hope
bullshit, man.
I
That
hope they can
sucks.
figure something out.
I hope they can.
Yeah, we're into the home stretch here. Indy Carson says, I dare NASCAR to schedule at 36 different tracks for one season to see how attendance and finances at one race per track instead of two. I want to see what track fans love the most. Yeah, that'd be interesting. Pit them against each other like that. We're here at it from make sure I spell it right. Is it yours pronounced right? Is it Garon Cassidy? Ron Cassidy? I don't. Thank you for the super chat. Really appreciate it. What are your thoughts on Denny Hamlin's comments and actions detrimental about how he didn't feel like he was pushing 100% or gave it his all at Chicagoland? He said himself he felt he was being lazy. I listened to that section. It sounded like he was more talking about early in the race. He didn't make many bold, aggressive like restart moves because he felt like he had a car that could win and didn't want to risk it. At the end of the race, I'm not sure. It sounded like at the end of the race, it was just they didn't have a great final pit stop. Plus, by staying out longer, he had a huge deficit to make up. And then he hit the wall late. That was just him trying desperately to make up all that time in a few final laps. So it sounded like he was just trying to play it safe early on because he thought he had a car that could win and didn't want to risk it. That just seems like it would be smart racing if it had worked out at the end, but it just didn't in this case. So I don't know. Maybe I'm misremembering. I listened to most of the show on the plane today. Maybe I missed that specific section. From David Bell, we will miss this bad luck. Hopefully most of the bad Bell luck is behind him. He's had two really good races in a row. Jonah Stuff says, if the rumor about him getting the 2 next year is true, how do you think Carson Brown would do despite being in his first ARCA start, despite only being in his first ARCA East season? At least Love had 4 seasons across the 3 series. Was Love in ARCA that long?
Yeah, he was ARCA for a long time before he jumped up.
Oh, I didn't realize
he never really had to do trucks. He just went straight to Xfinity.
Yeah,
I think the line is perform how William Swalch is this year. I'm not expecting him to be a top 5 guy. I'm expecting him to learn as he goes.
See, that's why I'm like, I think it makes more sense for a Parker Red Slap to get that car, but
well, there's 2 of them that are probably going to be open based on the reckless speculation rumors.
Yeah, But I guess I was going off of Parker Red stuff because I thought that RCR would be better off going to someone besides Austin Hill. But that,
Justin Drake says Chase Briscoe, baby. Oh, he's
look at his profile picture. Chase baby Briscoe.
That's like I'm pretty sure that's like a reference to Adam Cole, baby, a wrestler. That looks just like his logo that Adam Cole had. So he's kind of redone it to be like Chase Briscoe. I like it.
I like it.
Good deal. That's cool. Saucy asks, should I go to Coda for F1 or Homestead for NASCAR?
Homestead for NASCAR.
Homestead will probably save you more money and you'll get a better experience overall, I would bet, especially with them bringing it back in the renovations.
Saucy, they got the Tasmanian Devil. Saucy, look me in the eye. You just came onto the NASCAR, not affiliated with NASCAR, but the NASCAR weekly podcast and asked, should I go to a NASCAR championship race or an F1 race? What did you think we were going to say? Look in our eyes and tell us you expected anything different.
Did you look into my eye?
Sorry, I don't mean to shame Saucy here, but that was kind of I feel like they should have known the answer. They should have known what answer they were going to get.
I like how we all knew the assignment on that one too.
Finally here, or we're in the final few. I'm sorry. Blue Jimmy fan says, thanks, Jarrett, for the PTSD about the filter time bash since I wrecked that last restart. That event with Blake Cook was such a fever dream. Yeah, that was a long time.
6 years ago.
Memory. Yeah, wow, it's been that long. Indy Carson says, why would I waste money for good racing at a track that treats fans like 2011 Kentucky traffic? Well, I don't know. I would. The parking was rough, I will say, but like the having muddy, grassy lots, it'd be nice to update, like Danny said, or bring some gravel or something in.
I mean,
but the heavy rain, that's going to happen. That just is what it is.
They literally had to make the change that morning, and they tried to put it out early. I saw the announcements going out at 8 a.m. They did their very best to make the announcement they were having to redo parking. It's just, you can't help that some fans, unfortunately, that comes down to, how you're going to plan your day. You got to plan accordingly for stuff like that.
I mean, yeah, I don't want to be a complete asshole about it, but like, if like a day or more in advance, you have warnings and you're staying in the area. I get if like you're driving from far away, like that's tough. But like if you're in the area, show up early. Like you don't have to show up at like 8 a.m., but just don't show up to like a lot of fans show up like an hour or two before the race. And I'm like, well, guys, what? At Michigan, you never hear anyone bitch about Michigan. It is tough as hell to get into Michigan. So part of it's on fans got to prep better.
Yeah, and I hate to like victim shame, but I kind of like I saw a couple tweets and I don't remember who they were from, but I saw a couple tweets that got a lot of clicks that were like, like traffic is horrible. This is inexcusable. And then like one of them I saw said like on my way to Chicagoland, and it was like their map said it was like a 2.5 hour drive, and they were leaving about 3.5 hours before the race. And I'm like,
that's a rookie mistake.
Yeah, like I feel bad that you missed at least like the opening stage or whatever they probably missed, and I feel bad. Like I feel bad, but also like that's not the best strategy. Like, sorry, buddy. Like
the only like sports games that I really get there like really close to time is like a Titans game, but mainly because we have like a go-to parking place. We're always usually good. It's not a far walk. I know I'm just gonna get there. A Tennessee Vols game, I'm usually getting there earlier because there's kind of like a NASCAR race. There's lots of stuff before the game, so I don't know. It just comes down to you got to plan accordingly.
I would show up early everywhere, but that's probably been passed down from my dad to me. I mean,
that's just Midwest right there.
Well, it's tailgate. I mean, you remember, I'm a Vikings fan. We were the first fan base in the NFL to actually tailgate, so it's in my blood.
As I mentioned for the media stuff, I'm usually getting there earlier. Not like Bob Pockrass turned the lights on early, but
if they have lights,
yes.
Bob would know.
Indy Carson says, I really think NASCAR should take July 4th weekend off. Only reason NASCAR should race on July 4th weekend is if it's at Daytona. Also, until it's July 4th weekend at Daytona should only get the 500.
I'm going to disagree with him on that one.
No,
I will say I'm kind of with Cody after Road America getting the shaft. Cody H Gaming, who was there. And we were saying, you got, all the rain, you had COVID hit Indianapolis, you got, the issues for the 4th last year when it was Chicago and now Chicagoland. It's just God's way of telling you, like, one way or another, let's get Daytona back on this baby. Like, if it rains, it's fine, it happens. But July 4th, that's Daytona weekend.
I'd be all for it. I know the city's against it, and it's just there's so many. I do agree though with the take that you could put a track like Daytona is going to sell in September, August. It's done fine in those slots. So it's like take a track like a Road America or a track that already has a solid identity, but maybe putting it on July 4th turns that into more of a destination race, more of a big blowout bash. Put it at Gateway. They can blow up twice as many pyro on the back straightaway for 4th. I don't know. But I could, there are other tracks it could be at, but I'm with you. Like Daytona, certainly the most traditional and worked for so many years. Final 2 super chats. We're at the end here from Jake. Says, what are y'all's most and least favorite NASCAR races of all time? Love the show as always. Also those damn cheating Yoders. Sneak that in there.
Love it. 2012 Michigan is my favorite ever. Seeing Junior win in person. I mean, when you see your favorite driver win in person, there's nothing like it.
There's so many good ones. I don't know if I necessarily have a most favorite, but I do have a least favorite, and that was the 2018 Talladega fall race, where it was just single file and 4 SHR cars broke away from everybody. That was a weird one.
There was racing in the back. It was just the negative yaw SHR cars out front that were ruined. The only reason they didn't finish 1, 2, 3, 4 was because they ran out of gas.
That was definitely the worst NASCAR race I've ever been to.
Yeah. My answer probably changes on this all the time. I'm going to go with 2 from 2012. My favorite race, selfishly, I'll say it was Daytona 2012. Matt Kenseth wins. Race ended on Tuesday morning. Jet dry. It was just peak
memorable.
Yeah. I guess it's been a while, but the 2019 night race at Bristol is still a really good one.
That's a great one.
It was one where a lot of us met for the first time, and the race itself was memorable.
And then I just remember a few weeks later in 2012, Auto Club was a disaster. I hated that race. I was just pissed. I don't know if I was in a bad mood or what. Maybe I was sick that day. But Tony Stewart basically led wire to wire. They didn't even finish the race because it like rained or something. There was like no cautions, no action. I was just like, this sucks. I think it was 2012.
I'll give you one I attended and one, obviously 2008 Brickyard is the easy cop out, but one I attended that I thoroughly did not enjoy until I got enough hot dogs and beer in me to not think properly was that damn Martinsville race where nobody passed anyone all freaking night, and it was like 40 degrees and muggy and just rainy. That and being at the Kansas race in 2020 when Logano air blocked Harvick, who air blocked Bowman, who air blocked whoever the hell was behind him.
Bush Brothers fan paid the iceberg toll tax. Thank you for that. And then Justin Drake says, Danny B, correct, absolutely, and Adam Cole mention. So good call on that reference, Danny. And finally says, greatest SHR race of all time, Talladega 2018. You have the field and a full lash straightaway SHR's freight training. Unbelievable that nobody was able to like replicate that before or after.
I think it got legislated out of existence after that.
Must have under the table a little. Well, that's going to do it, folks. Thank you all so much for supporting the show, supporting us. We love doing this show every Wednesday night, and we really appreciate sharing these moments and these memories with all of you. Before we go, I did see in the comment section, a few people pointed out, I wanted to shout out Malik in the comments, said earlier, sadly, that it sounded like he said his father passed away recently. So just want to say Malik has been a staple in our chat for years. I feel like at this point,
definitely seen that name for a long time. Very sorry for your loss, Malik.
Yeah, I'm so very sorry to hear that. So just wanted to express our condolences here before we wrap up. But hope you're doing well. Hope everyone's doing well out there. We hope you enjoyed the show tonight, these last couple hours, and we hope you enjoy Atlanta this weekend. And we'll be back on the Icebergs channel 7 days from now. Thanks for watching, listening. We'll catch you again soon, folks.
Just awkwardly sit here.
Yeah.
Drivers!
plenty of carnage. Full head on them, wound up. Yeehaw, boys. Holy. It's a junkyard.
There's too much time hitting people.
Chill a second. No gas, gotta hang off here. Don't overdrive.
Just let me do my job.
10 times. I don't care if I wreck the whole field. I'm over him. He's just a moron. That was an absolute bull. Not clear. Awesome. I tell you, mama ain't raised no.
What the f*** are you doing out here? People are saying, just racing like idiots.
I don't care. Just let me drive.
What is he doing?
This is embarrassing. What a clown show.
Did you ever think you would see that?